in set 14 coming into the qualifiers for this EWC event, for the main event. We saw Shredin being a very creative player, playing lines that no one else was playing across those qualifiers and still finding success. I hope to see more of that today in this game 1.
Yeah, but that could be also the drawback. Like being too open for certain lines might bring you down. I think the biggest cook of the EVOS is Wojtek. He likes to definitely be flex with the lines, and he has been successful as well. And Shredin is not afraid of risking taking with the worth the weight recomp to hit the J's of the look. So you can imagine the item transition being pretty rough there.
We are going to see the Golden Gala for this first game. 3 golden augments across the board. Of course, the best of competitors in TFT are able to memorize and quickly realize what augments will be offered across the first 3 or all 3 stages, and know generally what lines might be a little bit more favored with gold augments being guaranteed.
What's very interesting, how TFT shifted across the sets. What we had before, where prismatics were the most polarizing augments across the field. Whenever it happened, we knew there will be some crazy stuff happening in the lobby. Now, like, prismatic is where it's a bit more chill, a bit more low to the ground, where there is way more polarizing gold augments, solo leveling, treasure hunt, where you see two of those on one of team side, you know it's a trouble.
And Treasure Hunt could be very strong with the crew reroll. Sivir is being offered here. Upgraded 2-star, of course, for Panda. Also, hefty rolls we just saw in that last game was the option for Ironbog in terms of playing the crew reroll. So he does end up buying the Sivirs, hoping to find at least one Malphite. There it is in this next shop. Has the Shen as well. So this could be a good start for the crew, which is one of those comps we talked about. It's kind of like an X-Factor comp. If you have the right conditions for it, you can play it and find success, but you can't force it every game like you can other reroll lines.
Yeah, I think the hefty rolls is just not that good enough for the comp. It's pretty much treasure hunt or some prismatic ticket, if anything. Outside of that, I think I would be too scared of clicking it unless, of course, the stuff like protagonist Malphite or build a bad Malphite or Sivir are the other enablers. But besides those, I think you should be leaning away from the crew, especially at 4 versus 4.
Where Kesman, early GP has been found with Trickster, has also the Katarina on the bench, hoping or having that option open as well. Heavy as the Crown is an option we saw a lot of today, played very creatively alongside Mundo to make him unkillable by Bintum in the very first series of the day. So it's also an augment that ruined some game plans in day 2 with Rebanav forced to pick it off of the Gold Destiny, and that really ruining his game plan.
Absolutely, we can see the Hustler here being also pretty solid in 4 versus 4 due to the fact that you don't get interest, so you can hold more units, so you can level more aggressively, you can play more forward tempo, and he will end up picking that.
Oh, Shredin is offered.
Okay, there is no...
Not just one, but
give one to the teammate.
2 very strong options. You mentioned both of them leading into this. He rolls Treasure Hunt and goes for solo leveling. He has an upgraded Aatrox, and he will be the protagonist in this first stage for Shredin.
I think that's a mistake. I see that Aki is having the hefty rolls, so they might want to get him on the reroll. But the problem is we don't see any slumps from Shredin.
Yeah.
So
I do think the cap overall is going to be higher with Treasure Hunt. Obviously, it's less explosive in terms of preserving HP. It's more of a scaling augment, but we've seen so many games, like Ahau, for example, in that first game, between Twisted Minds and Flash Wolves, where Treasure Hunt Katarina suddenly becomes a very, very strong win condition.
Yeah, we don't know if the Shredin is choosing not to slam because he knows he's winning anyway, or he has no option to slam.
He's maybe doing it to deny takedowns from Kai'Sa. Big brain play here. No kills for you, at least in this fight.
Surely. We're on the Araya side. We see the Portable Forge was picked up. It's gonna be DFG, so most likely Sorgs. Could be leaning towards also Battle Academia, looking at the bench. Holding already the GPs that early. Usually we see that being a case after stage 3, at stage 3 and onward, because it doesn't hurt much as Econ. Holding it from that early could be too much Econ damaging, unless chosen to play himself.
There is obviously a chance to play the Mighty Mech mid-game for still a Sorg board with GP just farming gold, even slamming AP items on GP, the AP ratio scaling for the gold chance to get some gold as well, to get you a chance to hit that Karma 2 a little bit earlier. But looking now at Kesman's board, he is locked into GP himself. Is going to have prio on finding these units earlier with Hustler.
I love that Kezman went for that Hustler, given that we know that there is at least one hero player, which is Aki. Shredding can choose to go for either one, but given that he didn't go for Treasure Hunt, we're assuming Shredding and Kezman will be going for that fast 8 kind of boards, and then Aki and Simply Void will be going towards reroll, given that even with the Shredding decided not to go for the Treasure Hunt.
Seeing a very high tempo start, right, from most of EVOS, or at least in the case of rerolls, they seem to be pretty locked in with the crew, with GP, potentially an 80 reroll from Shredding. We'll have to see where his items go as well.
I think this is very poor line selection. Going for the crew with hefty rolls without the econ opener, this might be tragedy. Unless Giga high roll the initial roll down, it's not gonna be looking good.
Ooh, Sangyup also hitting a very strong win condition line. Vi Hero Augment. Knuckle Dusters is here, and this is a very fun augment to watch as a viewer because this Vi is really going to become a carry, but also she will have a chance to farm loot off of her kills on every single unit. It can be just gold, as we just saw there, essentially like a GP-esque effect. In some later stages of the game, it can also be components. So if you're able to have one of these snowballing leads in stage 2 and stage 3, where you play high tempo, you roll for Vi 2, and you start taking over the lobby, you can snowball into an incredibly strong AD flex board in the late game.
Yeah, but the problem with the Vi is, like, it's a part of all the Juggernaut type of Mundo boards, and it's very easily deniable, because you can both play it, and you can just sit on it. So, and without Vi 3, the board falls apart. It will be most likely just a Mundo type of a reroll board again with the Jhin, but the whole team of the EVOS will make sure there will be no Vi 3 available towards the Sangyup.
There's a bow only on a 1 cost here, so potentially might be able to reach Kezman. No, he already went for a BF, sort of looks like. No, he still hasn't been released with Aki instead. So the bow is still there. Kezman obviously racing towards it as the GP player, but goes for the cloak instead. Maybe to slam Kraken's Fury. And Wojtek a little bit stun locked, but will be going for the chain at the end there. Has picked up the Onyx Spark augment, so Wojtek is going to be leading towards one of the fast 8 AP lines.
I like what Pana did. He went for the Bramble augment. And I like this more than the hefty rolls for the crewmate because it's so strong on the Malphite 2. It stabilizes your stage 2, stage 3, and you can actually slow roll without rolling too deep. And you suck a bit of the stage 4, and you catch up on stage 5, which is way better to play than playing all the way behind and just die out on the stage 4 or like one unlucky fight on the stage 5 with the hefty rolls. And we can see that Kezman managed to push level 6 already with the GP2. Again, a reminder, Hustler gives you gold per round. You don't get interest. A great augment to play GP because you get also the econ from the GP. And we see that Vi 1 managed to print already a component. I'm not sure if it was component or it was just the blue orb that could contain more gold.
Okay, it could be gold as well, yeah. Key win there from the Gangplank though. Obviously the Vi, this might be on the right side, it's still 1-star, and it's not quite able to get that snowballing effect just yet, but on stage 3 especially, Sangyup will be coming online. We'll see how strong he'll look. We see the item slams here from Shredding, not ideal, but he really wants to try and min-max the value from solo leveling. So force to slam the Gunblade and the Spirit Visage, which will likely go on a Mundo coming into stage 3.
And we see Wojtek actually not going for reroll. It looks like Kezman at the end will be rerolling GP, not going fast 8. And Wojtek will be the player playing Sorks or Battle Academia, still being flexible between both. And yeah, the high voltage being so efficient with the Sorks, given that Gwen can go back lane, and the Spark applying also the pressure, so explosions are way more efficient on the back, can be very explosive if you have tanky enough.
4-win streak for both of the EVOS players, Kezman and Simply Wojtek. Of course, no real reason to try and shenanigan, giving the win to one player or another. Just let the best player win. Doesn't really make sense to weaken your board with GP, especially making a chance to farm gold. Would it be a little bit better for the Sork player overall? I think the fast 8 players need more gold. No?
I'll disagree. I think player without interest is more beneficial because he gets gold from both GP and streak this way. And
but it's Hustler, so there's...
Yeah, but you get other sources of the income because you cannot get gold from the interest. And we see that Panda will be in contention of the crew to the Aki. So this might be actually blessing in disguise for the Evo if there will be two players going for the crew, and they can go 7-8. It just matter who will go lower. And I would imagine Aki will opt to pivot out, maybe.
And Aki will likely have, if that situation pans out where there's the 7th and 8th battle with the crew players, has a better chance because EVOS has preserved a lot more HP in Stage 2. They have, I think, the positions to preserve more HP in Stage 3 as a whole, so there'll be more chances for players to sacrifice for Aki if he needs it in Stage 4 to then just one-up the placement of Panda coming to Stage 4 and 5.
I would say in general, Panda has a better spot due to the Bramble Agony, but there is look at the econ here. There was no real reduce from the Krax coming in, and Aki being in the similar spot, they are both rolling. They don't care. They'll contest each other. I think this is the first time we see on the mainstream contested crew.
Especially from a spot like this, like as you're mentioning, there's just very little amount of gold to really find a big spike in Stage 3. And if other players who are playing stronger rerolls can come online on 3-2, this could be a bloodbath in terms of how much HP you're losing to all of this Stage 3.
I think in Panda's spot, I would consider pivoting also in the Mundo. This is very good to pivot just into Jin Mundo line, but perhaps he just wants to make sure Aki goes safe, so he just plays contested, he doesn't care. He knows he'll be stronger for this stage because of the Bramble argument, and hefty rolls not doing much, and as long as you can send Aki A, like, it's already a dub. Like, you are dragging yourself down, but hey, that's about, the whole competition is about it. So you can just outplace the other guy.
Ari does get her last cast off, doesn't quite kill the Sivir, so it should be a win, a stabilization now here for Panda. And Wojtek gets his win streak. Again, it was already broken last round, but Kezman continues strong. 6 win streak for the Hustler. And this is the whole point of the augments. You're able to sacrifice having to greed for extra econ thresholds. Instead, you're using all of your gold that you're getting every single turn to get progressively stronger.
Sangyup hit 6, he will be going for that Vi 2 at least to stabilize. He finds the Udyr. Finds even more Udyrs, but still no Vi 2 on the side. Missing just one copy, finds the Kaisa upgrade.
We saw this from Ironbog actually, not with the Knuckle Dusters, but just Vi Kaisa duo carry. Makes a lot of sense if you're contested on the lines that you're trying to fish for in terms of having the Jin contested and not be able to hit 3-star, for example.
You need this. This is like getting GP2. It's essential for this.
I think even more essential, to be honest, because GP1 can kind of farm more than a Vi1 because she is usually in range and in melee distance, basically, without the Edge of Night build.
I think it's rolling Donkey Kong to 0, like sell Ash and just roll deeper.
And this is not the case for most 2-cost rerolls, especially the case, obviously, for Vi and GP, because they're snowballing units. If you get a 2-star, it has a much higher chance of farming gold on kills, and this gold is essentially as if you are 10 or 20 or 30 econ in terms of your econ thresholds.
Yeah, so Aki picks up the Moguls on 3-2, very unusual pickup. Perhaps there was just like even FAP choices would be fine. Oh, Shredding gets the...
Shredding has been watching. They've been playing solo queue, but also watching the rest of the teams in this tournament and what tech they're bringing forward to their series. We saw this exact game plan from the T1 series with Bintum. He was the one playing this heavy as a crown on Mundo, and he was able to win streak off of that on very close margins all of Stage 3 and Stage 4. So much tech from today's tournament being showcased in this broadcast as well with the Vi Kaisa duo carry that Ironbox boarded recently.
Yeah, we're looking at the Dr. board right now, clearly playing for the either Storks or the Battle Academia Prodigy, having the forward thinking, so we'll be having a massive rolldown that will tune in on the 4-2. So general game plan from the EVOS, it looks like Shredding should be very stable until Stage 5. Kezman should be very stable until Stage 5. Wojtek will see his roll down, but if he hits, we see 3 players that could be stable, and they could actually cut loose Aki and not sacrifice for him at all HP, and just try to send 3 players from their ROC bottom.
And this is a very high-risk game plan from ROC. Essentially, if anything goes wrong for the players who are risking it all in terms of you miss on your roll down somehow with forward-thinking gold even, the game is essentially automatically over because they are all players that are playing for 1 or 2 lives and this big comeback synergy, which is something that we haven't really seen work to great success as a team in this tournament.
Yeah, there is a good counterplay here because Wojtek picked up an econ argument, slamming, which allow him to 4-1 it. So he will roll before forward thinking, and what Kezman will do, he will hold the units, he will probably will roll as well after the Wojtek, before the forward thinking and just take all the units to make the forward thinking so much less efficient.
I was going to mention exactly this, and to counter this, I think Dr. O has to make item slams and unit holds that keep him open to both Sork and Yumi to be able to pivot out of whichever line is less contested. If he tunnel visions on Sorks or Yumi, he will have a terrible time with two players trying to grief him the turn before he has his gold injection.
Yeah, and while we see Kezman hitting these items on GP on stage 3-5 while being on that 100 HP,
Aki says, I'm going down, but I'm bringing down everyone with me, holding 6 buys on the bench. The Malphite is not close, but he does not really care.
Okay, honestly...
It's a buy 1 still. So impactful to hold this many units. Kezman as well is holding a copy of Vi as well. The tactical griefing is absolutely insane up against Sangyup here.
Sangyup trying to play defense, but quite poorly, so only 1 GP on the bench. Can't hit his own upgrade. Okay. I'm gonna go strong, with not a curse, but a blessing, perhaps, that EVOS got this in the bank. If like this is looking so impossible for ROC to win, that I think we're looking for already second game.
Yeah, it's a really tough situation that you put yourself in, and you talked about it. The initial thought on, oh, Vi Knuckle is very strong. I would be very excited to pick it and play it for my team. I would be celebrating, but you mentioned it. It can be target griefed, and Vi is a champion that thrives off of the snowballing effect. If you cut that snowball early, you start drowning in your lack of tempo. An early TF has been found by Kezman, thanks to Hustler, able to pump levels and get some great 5 costs early, especially a scaling 5 costs like TF.
Yeah, the scaling comes from the more cards he farms, he gets the better rewards. Later on, we can get even 3-star the crew member, which allows you to roll down together with the crew and get the extra XP with the hustler that can be quite beneficial.
Well, and maybe he'll sell it if Aki is still trying to 3-star his
I'm assuming Aki will not be around anymore. But okay, he wants to send Panda also A. So it depends which kind of unit that would be a hit. But again, most players insta-sell it instead of actually putting in it for the extra XP, which is quite great when you're at 100 HP ahead.
The battle of the win streakers here, all EVOS on this battle for now. Heavy as a Crown is added at the very last minute from Shredden. Shredden does lose the win streak, and Kezman continues. We saw it last series from Flash Wolves. Both games, 1 and 2, a Flash Wolves player had a 10 win streak coming into stage 4. Both times, Flash Wolves won that match. So it's just so important to preserve HP.
Both players are rolling on the creeps, just trying to get ahead of each other. Rolling, we'll see how deep, but this is looking kind of sad. Like, this is only 6 Malphite, 6 Seviers for Panda, while the other side we see also 4 Malphites and 6 Seviers. They are not having prime time.
As we move into 4-1, we'll also have to look at the board from Dr. O to see what kind of angle he might be going toward, and then also look quickly at Simply Wojtek if he is going to be 4-1ing it for his Fast A comp.
Yeah, so all we can be hoping for, they won't be sucking for Aki. Like, he is pretty much destined to just go 8, just grief all the units you can grief. I wish he wasn't holding Janas. Holding Janas does nothing. Like, you are not free-starting Jana at this point.
Wojtek is rolling 4 Sorks, down to only 10 gold on level 8. Has found a pair of Cassantes, has found
a Yumi.
A Jarvan as well, has found some Yumis as well, so trying to stay open to both lines.
Not with those items, probably. Like, those items will not accomplish much with the Yumi too, even. I think getting... Ooh, the TF maybe potentially pivot here. Yeah, you see it right there. Items staying on the Lucian as just being 4 Sorks, slightly probably stronger, not pivoting quite yet.
No Karma is certainly not ideal yet for Simply Wojtek here. Looking at Araya's board, he also looks like he is going to be the Sork player. He is holding Lucian with Deathfire Grasp, so I assume that means that Dr. O is most likely going to be playing for the Yumi line and will be rolling heavily on 4-2 once all of his gold comes back, thanks to forward thinking. For now, this Sork matchup seems to be going in favor of Araya. It will be another big HP loss for Wojtek.
Yeah, he still didn't roll, but that Swain too, just 3 items, was quite enough to take down the Wojtek, given that he's still running Aatrox's main tank. So this could look a bit more on the grim side, given that Wojtek missed completely his roll down, and the Aki is not looking too good. Even though he's a bit ahead of the HP, we'll see the roll down now from the Dr. O, and he funds Spirit Link, which is amazing when you're at this HP. Karma missed!
He's playing for Yumi.
Oh, yeah.
Araya is playing for Sork, so they don't want to contest each other, obviously. He will be playing for especially Leona and Yumi as the key units to buy. He needs to hit, I would have to hope,
for Sorks.
Leona 2 and Yumi 2 on this roll down. If not, I would say he is in a bad position considering...
Oh, 0 Yumis! Oh,
no
Jesus.
Yumis whatsoever, so it's looking really, really grim.
I'm sorry.
It's looking really grim here.
Okay, look, we've seen that Wojtek was holding the Yumis. They were aware that the Battle Academia will be contested by Dr. O. So we'll need to see the Kazman bench yet, but this is looking very grim for Dr. O. Given that was like a 70, 80 gold
80 gold to roll for this unit
missing so many on the units. So only hitting pretty much Cassandra, which is amazing for the comp, but it's not gonna be enough.
And that's the big problem with forward thinking. You would think you have a guarantee to hit, but some cases it's just not the case. And look at Dr. O's HP total. He sacrificed his entire mid game more than you would with any other AUG when you can't even go 6 because your gold is taken away from you to then be returned with interest coming into 4-2. But he is now in a very difficult position here.
So now, when EVOS sees the spot of the Dr. O, they'll try to send him 8th before the Aki goes there. Given that Aki will not be able to stabilize, all they need to do is just position for Dr. O, make sure they hold his units, and with this Cassandra is still chilling there.
The Vi can finally farm some extra gold on the kill. Malphite 3 hit on 4-3 for Panda, very, very late into the game as well. It happens when it's contested. Shredden here, the Mundo 3 would be so important, especially with this setup with Heavy as the Crown, where you are trying to fight for your Mundo staying alive for as long as possible.
So not many of copies of the Leona or Yumi on the side of the Kazman. Actually, so that's crazy, that denial only was coming from Wojtek on the Yumi, and no Leona denial, so it just was so massive low roll on the Dr. O side. And we've seen that Shredin was already sitting on the set 2 Gene 3, so pretty stable.
And Wojtek full contest, griefing the Yumis and the Leonas, but has not had much of success on his own game plan, potentially also seeing himself on the way out to hold the Vides and as many units as possible from the game plan from ROC. Is trying to use this TF as a duo carry with Lucian for now on stage 4 to try and get some extra loot here.
Yeah, but this is not gonna be quite cutting it. Sangyop also not being able to be even remotely close to hitting the Mundo nor the Vi. However, he's one of Kaisa, which should be...
Bit of a party on the bottom of the board here. So many different little legends seeing what is happening. It will be another win for Kezmen. 13 win streak now. And we've seen it 3 games in a row now. The last 3 games on broadcast have been a dominant lead of one of the players at least from, in this case, EVOS.
Yeah, and I believe that Kezman hit Udyr 3, so this will definitely draw back from other Juggernaut players being probably unable to hit like...
Yasuo 3.
Like, is this Yasuo 3?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's even better. That's actually a carry
You have a secondary damage carry outside of GP as well, so we'll see how long this win streak will continue for Kezman. We talked about it, so important for preserving HP. He can also now start maybe sacking this HP to some of his teammates to try and manipulate the eliminations on the bottom 4.
Does he even have Rice on the board? I don't know if that's already a mentor, because he has still on the... He's still sitting on TF. Perhaps there is no Jarvan. But given that he picked up the magic wand on the last argument, that's kind of unusual for the GP board.
For Dr. O, we're seeing it here. The Heartbreak board still on pairs of Yumis, pairs of Leonas. We do see the Mundo 3 being hit, and in comparison here from Sangyop, only a few copies of Mundo.
Yeah, we've seen Shredin removing the crown from the Mundo in case there is like a Yumi matchup, so she doesn't blow him out.
Not just that, but you can also place the crown on any unit that's going to die if you want to lose to a weaker opponent, for example.
Yeah, so here we see that ROC members are sacking for Dr. O just to make sure he doesn't go 8, because given the Wojtek is so weak, Aki is so weak, he should be able to outplace them. But if they sack for him and he does go 8 still, this is gonna be very, very bad for news for them.
Fairly big hit on Araya here, now dropping down to 50 HP. We're looking still, EVO's looking so strong in that 1 and 2 spot with 100 HP for Kezman and still 75 for Shredden, so just a huge gap even to 3rd place. The Sivir 3 is finally found for Aki. He's on his last life, as is Dr. O. The early TF here, though.
You probably sell Vi on last second.
Yeah, you saw 1 Vi when there's no more time for the rolls to come through. And just try your best to win this next fight.
Or sell 2 Vi's, put another unit, sell another Vi, just put like another Malphite, just trying to win the last fight before you go out.
Level to 6, yeah.
Yeah. And he's facing RI, there is no shot, he was winning this anyway.
And it will be Shredin versus Dr. O. The crown is going to be on Mundo. Yumi could be scaling enough to kill the Mundo all by herself.
But Shredin needs to make a big hit because Aki is not killing many units, and I think Dr. O will actually outplace Aki given the HP difference.
Mundo's still very healthy. Udr's coming to help as well. If Mundo doesn't die here, that could be it, and that's
5
a big
units
loss to Dr. O.
But on the other side, I think it was like 7 unit loss from the source. No, it was 6 units loss. It might be actually perfect.
Yep.
It was, they were, okay, Aki was 1 HP ahead, but he lost by 1 more units, so they were equal on HPs. But because Aki was higher HP before the run started, he's placed higher because of the tiebreakers. And you see, maybe not the happiest man, but he did his job. He went 7th, not 8th. Big victory for the EVOS.
He lost his fight to Panda in the 1v1 on the crew reroll, but he did end up outplacing Dr. O at the very least and held on to so much Vise across that game as well, which is why we're seeing Sangyup now down to 23 HP and on a 2-loss streak. He's now going to have a chance with those 7 Vise going back into the pool to maybe hit that by 3 and come back into this game.
So the biggest question is, did they brought down Aki, or Aki brought down Sangyup and Panda down?
It's a 1v2. That's I think it's worth it if you're ruining 2 game plans by ruining your own. And
you still outplace one of them.
Yeah, exactly. So overall, I think you have, like I mentioned before, the help from Kesman and Shredin with so much HP to also sack for you and to buy you more time than maybe Dr. O had from his own teammates. Wojtek now has finally found the Karma, but it's just a Karma 1. There's no Gwen yet here as well.
Yeah. Pretty much this whole game will be reliant on Shredin and Kesman, just making sure they can close the game with at least 1 and 3. Looking that Wojtek will be probably going bottom. However, he does face a Vi, but there is a Kaisa 3 and another component for Sangyup.
If the Ahri can go onto the Vi earlier before the Mundo, that could be enough. The Vi does have kind of an AoE when she gets her ult off, so once she faces the Ahri and the Karma,
another cast from Swain, that might be just enough.
That's enough time. The Vi gets taken down.
That will go towards the Kaisa, and it
huge win for Wojtek. Now Sangyup is going to be on 1 life, which is a scary place to be. We're in stage 5, 11 HP, pretty much any amount of unit loss and you're down.
So now the big question, how many members of the ROC has the Sangyup in the pool, and if they even can afford to sack for him, if they have a win-out player.
GP3, Kabuko 3, Kesman claps because he knows he's going to continue to dominate this lobby as he had in stage 2 and 3.
That's so hilarious. Look how much natural XP Kesman got since he went to 7. He's almost level 8 by just default getting 2 XP per round.
Because he went with Hustler 7 so early in stage 3.
18 runs of default XP.
Shredin heavy as a crown, Kaisa 3. And the Vi very far away from the Mundo, so Mundo will be staying alive for a long time. The Gnar has a Luchador, can try and get out of danger. And Jin all by himself on that top left-hand side trying to deal out the damage. Kaisa is having a very hard time breaking through onto the Mundo here.
Kaisa does have a bypass damage towards the Jin once all the units by Mundo are dead, but they're still set healing out. And yeah, that will be the end of the Sangyup. This is, they would need to 1-3. Do they have HP for 1-3? Araya having 50, Panda 29. Technically it's possible, but are they gonna be strong enough?
It'll come down to Panda being able to turn this crew game around and find the high cap of hitting Ziggs 3, of hitting TF2, of being able to go 8 and fit your strategist online as well. We're looking at the board here. He is a level 7, 20 gold, no
Ziggs
TF.
3 what?
And only 2 copies of Ziggs for now. So Panda looks to be very far away from the max cap for the crew, and no real augment to skill him to get him there, right? There's no treasure hunt, for example. It was just all about tempo augments with the Primal.
Yeah, that's a big victory, having the Wojtek being able to go 5th. And we see that item removal, just to make sure he doesn't beat Shredin, just to preserve the HP. Beautiful sack from the player that you could think that you want to sack for. But no, he doesn't want to take away from HP from the Shredin, because they need to make sure that Kesman and Shredin go at least 1-3.
If Panda was also 1 life, of course that would change, but because Panda is relatively healthy, at the very least 2 lives, there is no incentive to keep Wojtek around. He's done his job. He's outplayed Sangyup as well in his game plan.
Also, they can go 2-3. They don't need to go even 1-3. The EVOS, so that's even better. Given how healthy is Shredin and Kesman, while Kesman being higher cap board, it'll be extremely hard for the ROC to be able to outplace EVOS altogether.
This is because ROC can face each other, and that means they're taxing each other's HP. There's only so much HP they can work with, essentially. There's only so much buffer, which is why we've been mentioning across this entire tournament how important it is to come into Stage 4 with 100 HP, or to have a 13 win streak, because you have such a buffer to share with your team as well in Stage 5 and 6.
We've seen how that Hustler was so important for the EVOS, being able to just play tempo out of that GP opener. Really, really nice to play it. And we see already the matchmaking here, Panda being playing against Araya. They shouldn't be sucking to that extent, I think, because they still need to kill some of the units. Like Araya still needs to kill some to not lose that much HP.
Maybe Panda's weaker than you think. It could be the question. We've seen players thinking, oh yeah, I'm sacking for sure, and then they end up winning regardless. And there is still the Shadow Clone Karma dealing some damage alongside the Lux.
25%.
You'll kill the Shen, you won't kill the Malphite, but you'll get 2 or 3 unit kills here at the very least.
At least there should be some Gnar segment. Like, that's another HP that could have been, like, there is no Luchador, this Gnar does nothing, it just deals extra damage. So there should be like a bit more of an adjustment from Panda side.
Araya has Braum as well, so Braum able to shield some of that health as well. Only now down to 44 HP for Araya. Has been now dropping to 42.
Yeah, Shredding being at 59. We'll see if the Kezman decides to sack for the Shredding, given that how strong he is, if he thinks he can beat the Sorks. But I believe that Kezman is slightly weaker than the Sorks, but have a chance of beating Sorks, where Shredding board, I don't think has a chance against that capped board from the Araya.
I wonder if Kezman has been holding Ziggs as well. We're seeing one on the bench there from Kezman. That's the only really big power spike left for Panda that can put him back into this game. We'll see Mundo now getting a lot of damage from the ship, from all these different carries, trying to take him down. The Malphite's very close to being down now as well. The Gnar and the Jhin, damage coming through. Heavy as a crown, seemed like such a great tactical play. Ascension procs though on this very long fight. Is this enough DPS to break the Mundo shield? It's a Mundo 3, he's chunky, he has a chair, and he seems to be unkillable. Shredding a very important win. Panda maybe now, as we move into Stage 6 on 1 life, 17 HP.
And Kezman also being able to bring Araya down, looking pretty much like they both outcap the ROC players. Kezman holding even the Gwens, making sure that Araya cannot reach the final cap. We've just seen that Mundo, heavy is the crown, being pretty much equal or a bit weaker than the Locket Mundo.
Yep. It seemed just very, very strong. Even in, my worry is that in late stages of the game, there's enough DPS that it ends up becoming a hindrance on your game plan, but no, he's just able to tank so much damage. So many Ziggs being held here by Kezman as well, thanks to Hustler, and just a great griefing game plan to try and secure the win here for EVOS.
In general, reaching 8 by default is crazy. Just from 7 to 8, that is so many rounds. And Araya will go to 9, will try to hit the Gwen, but doesn't have much gold behind his belt. That does find one, but one might not cut it.
One off from the Ziggs. Is he even able to hit it is the biggest question with the amount that are being held by both Shredder and Kezman. They are certainly not selling any copies of this Ziggs to try and deny the spike from Panda. 17 HP, who is he facing? Can he stay alive?
Oh, he's not beating this board.
He's not beating it, but is he losing to it in a way that he takes that much damage is the biggest question. Gangplank wrapping onto the left side, potentially can wrap now onto the right as well. Ziggs already down thanks to the Yasuo. It's going to be a massive loss. Only the tanks left alive here. This could be it. Kezman, huge win and a huge knockout on Panda as well. EVOS takes game number 1 off of decisive game plans in Stage 2 and 3 especially.
You can see on the EVOS faces, they are so pleased, they're happy, they are cheering, they're already locked in for another game, just gonna be locking the last
Mundo,
game.
Surely not.
I mean, Anima is healing the percentage of missing HP.
Oh my god, heavy is the crown indeed. The king of tanks is here. Mundo just does not die. The real Karma was killed early on. That was a Shadow Clone, but still, impressive display from this 2-cost 3-star.
Is this the tankiest unit we've ever had?
The moment I realized how strong Mundo was, this set became much more enjoyable for my ladder climb. It opened up a lot more paths when it comes to AD rerolls, when it comes to AD flex as well.
I believe if not for Mundo, the meta would be so much narrow, because like all the AD flex comps would be suddenly gone.
Yeah.
And like it would be all just everyone playing AP.
Mundo is the big enabler in this current meta for AD flex. And a cool setup from Kezman. In that flex spot on level 8, instead of playing a strategist with Jarvan, instead of trying to go for the Mighty Mech, He's just going into this TF as an AP carry with Karma items essentially, and using him to farm more and more resources to snowball. So this is all about Kezman playing high tempo with Hustler and pressuring everyone else and never really taking his foot off of the gas the entire game. A great display from this Polish player.
Keep in mind that this TF is scaling there since 3-5. This is 3 stages of scaling. Gold, rolls, AP for him, attack speed for TF, and also like stuff like shielding. And those cards keep getting better over time. So at this point, there is just premium stuff coming from him.
Similar to Kaisa as a reroll unit, it's a unit that the more you play it, the more it is on your board, the stronger it gets. Which is why if you find it early, it's always a consideration. Even if he's not usually in your cookie cutter meta comp, try and find a slot for him because he will put in the work.
Especially when you play Hustler, getting this extra resources will definitely not hurt him. And the cool tech from Araya, having Shadow Clone with the...
Deathfire Grasp.
Both of them proccing over time, definitely cool tech.
We'll see now Araya on his last life. Of course, it's already going to be a Game 1 win for EVOS, but we'll see if Araya can put up a fight against this Mundo. Lost the last time these two players faced each other. The Braum is coming in to throw Mundo around, but Mundo does not seem too bothered just yet. The healing coming in from Spirit Visage. Double Karma Dis onto the Mundo. He's by himself. Surely this will finally be the end to his reign of terror. The healing cannot be that strong. It will finally be a win from Araya up against Shredden.
Also DFG being a natural counter to Mundo, blasting for the percentage HP. When both of them proc, the Mundo will melt. But it still respects the resists.
There's a TF on the carousel here. If Kevin wants a little blue buff, we'll see if he wants any other items.
Really cool, also argument selection from the Shredden. I believe it's Tesla coil for last one.
Yep, Tesla coil.
So he makes sure even if the Mundo is left alone, he still can do damage and he can clutch it up.
And you have so many items. You have obviously the Heaviest Crown is an item in and of itself. It counts for Tesla coil, so just that little bit of min-max in terms of trying to find the most value from your augment setup. We're seeing now the change, the fusion dance onto the Gwen alongside the Lucian, and the Karma with his Shadow Clone. So just max burst damage and hoping that these 4 frontliners can buy enough time for all the damage. I mean, one of the burstiest versions that we've seen of this Sorcerer's Comp with double DFG as well on the Karmas.
I think this is the best combination of the power-ups you can hope for on the swords on the current patch.
And it's GP. So he comes in and fires a few shots and everyone is down. Can he win against this last Gwen? The 1v1, he can. Araya taken down. That's all 4 players from ROC eliminated. And the victory lap from EVOS, the victory lap from 2 great friends and 2 long-time players in EMEA scene, Shredden and Kezman, who were the 2 players who played such high tempo in stage 2 and 3 and put their team in such a good spot all by themselves. Look at this amount of gold from TF in the late game.
That's what comes when you get all the scaling on, but like, this is GP. He comes in, fires a warning shotgun shot to the face, he refuses to elaborate, he goes out.
And the Rise upgrade, all the last few upgrades coming through here. Not much more to spike this board with. You've hit everything, essentially.
We should make, like, if there was removers available, there are still 2. Some optimization with the items where like Void Stuff goes to the TF because he has a way better spread out on the item going to the back lane and benefiting of the attack speed way more than the Rise, and then like Mentor Rise with those items would do actually solid damage, especially against Mundo.
And for Shredden as well, a great tech. This Heavy as a Crown, we saw it earlier. For me, it was the first time really seeing it in a high-level situation, performing so well. Thanks to Bintum, we're seeing it now again for Shredden. Definitely a combination we'll be seeing a lot more of this tournament now that either players, maybe they already knew from scrims, but I think everyone across all our viewers are now learning how strong this is, and definitely a way to maximize Mundo's effectiveness as a tank and just win fights all by itself.
So would you say this is more on the EVOS premium gameplay, or ROC just playing against each other and falling on their own fault?
I think it's a bit of both. Dr. O put himself in a risky position with forward thinking. It backfired. Aki brought 2 players down. Sangyup was unfortunate on his initial rolldown on 3-2. He could have easily hit a Vi 2, maybe even 6 copies of Vi, the same way we saw with Aki rolling on 5. So I think it's a little bit of misfortune from ROC's side. Maybe not the ideal game plans as well, but you have to give credit where credit is due. EVOS played at least for Shredded and Kesman, two very clean game plans, and these are game plans that fit perfectly in 4v4. High tempo, high pressure, and when you see some weakness or some bad luck from the opponent's team, you have to capitalize on it, and they've done
pressure.
Exactly that.
You don't let them go, and you just send players bottom. That's why playing fast 8 is so volatile, because if you don't hit on your initial roll down, you are not hitting.
We'll hear a more in-depth breakdown now as well from our analyst desk. Analysts, take it away.
Thank you, guys. EVOS are putting themselves here in the lead with that first win over ROC. We expected this to be a little bit of a closer matchup, but it did feel a little bit one-sided.
Yeah, I think really good game plans from EVOS. I really just like the direction they went. They had the solo leveling start for Shredden, but then going towards the heavies, the Crown Mundo, we had a GP setup for Kesman. I think the way that they played around Aki, somehow at level 5, still able to play 7th in that game. I think it was just really well done from EVOS. And then on the other side, I think there is a little bit of low rolling that did happen.
Yeah, I mean, to follow on to Cass's point, I think just having the dual accelerants in there, to be able to bring two different players into the game that much faster than they should have been doing, I think really made a big difference here, because for a lot of teams, they don't necessarily get to really hit that kind of angle quite as hard as we saw for Reroll in that game.
Yeah, and then we're looking at ROC, and I think I would like to start off with maybe talking about what potentially went wrong for them. We were talking about some of the low rolling specifically, that being an issue. What else could they have done differently then?
I think some of the plans could have gone a little bit better. There was a bit of contesting on the AP line, so Dr. O gets kind of pushed into a corner where he has to only roll for Yuumi, can't actually roll for the Karmas because Araye is going in that direction. And so we end up in this spot where forward thinking goes off, and he rolls 80 gold and hits nothing at all.
Yeah, I mean, when I saw that happen, I thought he really has to change his name to Dr. No.
Yeah, probably Dr. No Yumis, because he hit 0 Yumis and 80 gold.
It's a little bit of a difficult situation to be in as well. Kind of unlucky if I do say so myself, but it does play out like this at the end of the day. That is how the cookie crumbles, and EVOS were also able to capitalize off of the boards that they had going on.
Oh, for sure. I mean, I think, it's definitely going to be one of the things, of course, with this being a day full of elimination, you can see the emotion just flooding in at these kind of moments when you realize that your sort of team's trajectory. In this case, I think for EVOS, they did have a good amount of momentum pretty much through the whole game.
Yeah, I mean, it starts out with solo leveling and Hustler, right? I mean, that's immediately just a lot of tempo from two of these players, able to set up, then leading in, as we said, the heavy is the Crown Mundo. We've seen this once before. This was kind of newer tech, I guess, that is emerging in the tournament that we had not seen prior to today. And both times it's been brought out, once by T1 and once now. It's looked incredibly strong. And then the follow-up is just having Slammin for Wojtek that gets to go into Sorcerers. He's the only player on his team going Sorks, and he gets to kind of contest into 2 players on ROC.
And I do want to follow up, Cass, on what you're saying about Aki as well, because we had a crew game, or we could have had an extremely strong crew game with the heavy rerolls to get contested and still provide utility to the team by holding so many buys and just holding on for as long as possible. I think that's really good team play and playing, knowing what the reality of your spot is.
Yeah, and we're touching upon, you, Kazi, you were touching upon the Mundo specifically with the heavy as a crown, and that's something that you said that we've only seen today, right now from EVOS and earlier from T1. Is there a world where these two have a similar meta read because they are potentially scrim partners?
It's possible. I know the big thing that we heard out of EVOS coming into today is actually they finally were having some good scrim results. I don't know if that was with T1. I'm not sure who their scrim partners are, but one of the big things with EVOS coming into the event, which is why we rated them pretty low, was because a lot of their scrims we heard were going terribly. They were not winning very many games at all. But now, today, they're feeling very confident. They actually had some really great scrims yesterday, getting ready for today. And I mean, it shows immediately. I think they're playing with confidence. They have some great plans and they're executing well.
Yeah, and even the interview that we heard earlier today ahead of the game against ROC, they're like, yeah, we're confident. We've had our scrims going well. Everything's doing really fine. We're ready to take this on. And it seems that confidence has genuinely translated onto the server as well. And they continuously are surprising us here as the underdogs.
Well, I mean, we've been talking about this all the way through the competition. Teams growing in confidence, teams growing in ability. I don't think you can do too much better than what we're seeing from EVOS right now. I mean, they are surrounded by some of the best 44 players in the world. So I think they're taking every moment they can get here, making the most of it, and growing as much as they can.
I mean, they've seriously leveled up. I think that now we have to see, can ROC actually level up as well, because we've seen some very big hero performances, especially from Araya and Dr. O, but now is the time for the rest of the team to make sure they can step up as well if they're given the spot, because this last game, I think, had a lot of issues. It seemed like some kind of communication issue might have broken down, which was a worry for this team, and I'm hoping that that's not the case and they can actually turn it around.
So for EVOS' side of things, then, what are we looking for them to replicate again this game? Because ROC, as you touched upon, a couple of communication issues, maybe some of the low rolls that we're seeing from them, that's obviously something that they should be able to fix in this next little break. EVOS, though, they want to make this a clean 2-0, because that's kind of been what they're doing. Yeah, I mean, I think the big thing for EVOS is actually just continue to do what you're doing. I think the plans were great. You had the 1-cost reroll, you had two cost rerolls trying to help in the pool, and from there you have your fast 8 player. I think that's generally a great setup to go for. Of course, you have to have the spots cooperate, but I think the overall plans and execution have looked good. Keep it going.
Yeah, I mean, I think absolutely, I'm with you there. EVOS really did get to dictate terms in this game, and I wonder if we would necessarily see the same opportunity be given to them in a second game. I think, there's something to be said from ROC to being very reactive as they were to shut down the crew, but I don't know if necessarily they took enough initiative of their own.
Do you think ROC then has the ability to bring this one back?
Well, actually, I've got an answer for that in my book. Let me a second.
No. Do you agree, Kazan?
I don't think I agree. I think ROC definitely has enough in the tank to get it done. I think they've had some outstanding carry performances. We saw it out of Dr. O with the 9 lives, and we saw it all global qualifier with the RIA. So I'm thinking they can actually bring this one back.
All right. Well, whether or not it's going to happen, we're going to have to wait before we find out, because our second match of EVOS going up against ROC coming up after the break.
When the world of business is constantly changing, you need to stay ahead. So what about AI to generate new possibilities? Machine learning to predict what customers will like. Or expand your business by forecasting delivery routes with real-time data. With the power of the cloud, imagine how AWS can transform your business.
Hey everybody, it's Puckett with Jin the Translator, and we got Flancy here from Twisted Minds. Now, Flancy, this was a rematch going up against Flash Wolves. Last time you edged them out on day 1. What went wrong this time?
就想问你，这次重新对战 Flash Wolves， 但是这次不像你们第一次跟他们对战就是2-1胜出嘛，这次相当于是惜败给了他们。那想问你，到底问题出在哪里了呢？
我觉得第一把我们处理的还可以，但是确实对面船长那个点太糊了，处理不了。然后第二把的话，就是我们在就团队沟通啊，可能选阵容啊，包括后期的一些细节方面，就是没有处理好，就导致也是非常可惜输掉了。其实有差一点。
Well, game 1 we actually thought that we put up a good fight, but the opponents had a very complete Gangplank roster, and we just couldn't really keep up with that. And then for game 2, I think we made much more errors in terms of team coordination, communication as well. Just and there were a few roster conflicts as well. So I think that a lot of things added up, and we end up losing. So it's a shame, but it is what it is.
It is what it is. Flancy, one thing is for sure, though, you made a lot of fans in the production room. We all love to watch your face, all of your smiles, all of the emotions. Are you excited to get back to your stream?
就这次，因为摄像头也很多次切到你的镜头，然后也看到你的各种情绪、各种表情、各种就是摸脸啊，或者其他动作。然后呢，很多人这些主持人这些解说也都挺喜欢的。想问你，你这次回去的时候是不是准备继续开播呢？
直播肯定会继续嘛。然后就是非常谢谢大家，不管是国内还是国外的粉丝对我的喜欢吧，我会继续加油的。
Well, when I go back, definitely I'm gonna resume streaming again. And a big thank you to all my fans out there, both domestically and internationally, for watching me. Love you guys.
A global star right here. We'll see you next year.
Welcome back, everyone, to what could potentially be the final game of the group stage for the Esports World Cup TFT 2025 tournament. All in all, right now, EVOS has put themselves in the pole position to qualify to the playoff bracket. 1-0 up against ROC with a dominating performance from two of their players, Kezman and Shredden, who preserved so much HP in the early game, dictated the terms of that late game, and took over in Stage 6.
Yeah, but we cannot ignore the effect that Aki and Wojtek had into the game. Aki just drawing back the knuckle duster down, holding that 6-7 Vice, being unable to hit Vi2 for such a long time to accelerate the econ, to accelerate the components that comes out of the trades, and Wojtek playing a great tempo, having the HP. Unfortunately for him, that he missed down on the roll down, but it did not matter because they were so in such a commanding lead HP-wise and comp-wise that they had a fair share in just going to win the game regardless.
All smile for EVOS, but for ROC, faces of concern. They now know the strength of their opponents. They now know what they need to do and potentially change for this game to try and come back into it. Some misfortune in the game one. Dr. O's rolldown was not ideal. The game plans were a bit all over the place, but they have a chance to clutch up in this game too.
Yeah, like what you were saying about the game plans. Maybe they have to focus more on their own game plan than the disruptive game plan, and that's what has been the case of an attempt last game, and where they tried to drag the 1-2 players down, and they were the victims of their own plan scheme instead.
And we talked about the confidence, right? The moral loss to Wolves, where they were absolutely dominated by one of the strongest teams in the tournament from what we've seen so far. They won and really dominated both of these teams actually in the earlier parts of this group stage. And right where you need it most, you need that confidence injection, you need that morale boost for the rest of your team, you get dealt a pretty big and important loss as well in game one. So this is the time. If there is champion blood, if there is winner blood in these players, they have to show it now. This is the game two where they are required to clutch up. They're required to bounce back from the loss, to adapt and to come together as a team, right? You need to have that group morale to confront this challenge.
Yeah, ROC does definitely need a rally effect here when the second wind, where they're gonna come back into the series, where they're gonna cut their losses, they'll forget about the game one, and they'll just play a nice, beautiful team fight tactics with the team.
And Sangyop, as a part of Navi last year, he knows what it feels like to make it into the top 8. Individually, individually. Dr. O knows what it feels like to make it to 3 TAC rounds, to make a final lobby as well. These are players who have tasted great deals of success individually. They have to now do it as a team in this game too.
As you mentioned, they have all the skill they need. They have way more experience than the EVO. They just need to be a team, not a 4 men of individuals, just a team. One pretty much object moving on.
One rock moving forward.
I was thinking about sending that one, but you did serve it well.
I could tell. And there's been a lot to learn, right, across all the different adaptations we've seen, not just in the meta itself of what comp do I play, but how do I adapt to a certain team's playstyle. We've seen, this is the last series of the day. We've seen it all already on this day 3 across the last 2 days of the tournament as well. So there's been a lot of chances to learn. There's been a lot of chances to take some parts of what other winning teams are doing, of what Flash Wolves did in the last series, and try and add that to your own game, to your own game plan. It's incredibly hard. Start of a set, there is 2 weeks into set 15. TFT is a game that brings forward so many new things when a new set launches. It's almost a new game in and of itself. So any chance you have to learn small little decisions to min-max and to improve your game, it's relevant and it's important.
And you can see, as in the last game, it's never too late to change your strategy, to adapt, to yoink the techs, as we've just seen from EVOS, taking the page from the Binteum book with the Heavy is the Crown on the Mundo, even though Binteum managed to only score 6 that game, and here Shreddy managed to lock down the second just behind his teammate.
See now as we load in, we'll see of course what encounter we get as well. Incredibly impactful in TFT. The Golden Gala there, we saw a lot of very relevant gold augments like solo leveling for Shredder and really set him up for that Mundo game plan in the first place. We saw of course the Hustler. I think that was probably the most important augment of the game. An augment that in normal TFT on rank ladder, no one says Hustler is S tier. No one says Hustler is broken. No one complains about Hustler and its balance across the last 6-7 sets of TFT, but we saw that in the right situation, especially in a 4v4 format, it can become one of the strongest augments in the game off of just the way that a top player like has been able to adapt and really showcase the strength of the augment that it offers to you, and shore up the weakness with something like TF giving you that extra econ in the late game to bounce back from the lack of interest, for example. So we're going to see if we see some of this as well from ROC, some understanding of key augments that can really propel them into comfortable tempo positions in stage 2 and 3.
So we've seen the interesting outcome of the game where there was a decision between Treasure Hunt, solo leveling with Aatrox upgraded only. There was no GP, there was no Nafiri, there was no premium units for the solo leveling, just Aatrox with no slums whatsoever, and Shredin made it work where 90% of the players would just opt for the Treasure Hunt, especially that Shredin opted for the reroll anyway.
And for the hefty rolls pick from Aki, I think back-to-back games now we saw it in Flashpool as well. It has not really been that impactful. I thought it would be a little bit stronger, but you were right. Without a gold subscription or some extra econ to accompany, it doesn't really have that much impact. We are ready to go for game number 2.
Golemic.
And boy, oh boy, will we need adaptation. Trainer golems are here thanks to Lulu, everyone. Thank you, Lulu. We're going to have 3 random emblems added to every player's board. And this means that the chance to cook, the chance to play some creative TFT is here, the chance to potentially high roll some broken and strong combinations as well. The first one to start things off for Aki, Duelist, Juggernaut, Wraith. Juggernaut fits into Mundo, Duelist pairs with Udyr, and Wraith pairs with
Kale?
Jhin. Very, very strong for Kale. Also very strong for Jhin Gnar snipers, depending on what spot you have.
I'm sorry, this is 4 Duelist Kale, no?
If you have enough
GP,
if you have enough econ to get a Kale 3 and go level 9.
I think you just fast 9 of this.
With a Kale 2?
Yeah.
Okay. We'll have to see if Aki
Mundo 2, Kale 2,
agrees with this game plan, or if he goes for the more maybe traditional or more stable Jhin reroll.
And the best part is you can itemize for the GP. You just don't play the mentor version, you play GP 2. You itemize the Lee Sin later on.
We'll see if that'll be the thought for Aki. It looks good on paper. I'm not sure if I would pull that out the first chance I have in a game like this one where everything's at stake. Crystal Gambit offered for Dr. O alongside Soul Fighter as a potential vertical with Bastion +1, which fits for both.
Comps?
Yeah, both Crystal Gambit and for Soul Fighter. Crystal Gambit, obviously, it's a whole different story in 4v4. The idea of losing so much HP early is always scary. We have seen one team, Aegis, on the B stream yesterday. They were able to use Crystal Gambit with Lides catapulting to a huge win off of that Tournament favorites is offered.
Are they
though.
the favorites, though?
This is going to be one of the vertical inclined augments for Soul Fighter. Could be a pickup for Dr. O.
I mean, you have already the dummy. You could go vertical, and tournament favorites. Is this a sign for the EWC?
For Panda, he has picked up Patient Study. Going to play for a fast 8 comp. I assume we'll be looking into some AP comps like Yumi or Karma, Sorcerers. Aki will be going for Replication. Simply Wojtek, I believe that's Clear Mind. So also playing for a fast 8 game plan, very similar to what we saw last game. Kesman on 2-trick. That could be another tempo game from Kesman if he hits the right units.
Yeah, we'll need to see still what the other players hit on their golems, because it will heavily rely what the game.
Hustler was offered their last minute, and not even a consideration. We see the complete difference in how much teams really value this augment. Kesman here, we're seeing the all-star from last game on a Katarina board for now. Strategist, Soul Fighter, and Executioner.
This could be just a Katarina reroll straight up.
Yeah, you have the extra Executioner, you have the chance to fit in Rise for Strategist, as well as Janna for Protector and Strategist for the late game. And Kesman does love, I think, his 2-cost rerolls in terms of playing high tempo and bullying the lobby in the late game.
Aki pickups the Replication. We don't see quite the components yet. Could be... Oh, we don't know yet. But he will be able to win that initial fight against Panda. Will be, as you mentioned, going at fast 8. We need to see the guns. There was a sniper there. Aki has the... Okay. Did he find the bow?
No kill for Aki whatsoever, so we made the kill game plan already kind of evaporating. He does have a Rage Blade, he does have a open cloak as well. This could be some kind of GP line, as you mentioned.
It's always Rage Blade Slam, probably. And
or just Narjin, I think, is the most obvious answer from here. Looking at Araya's side, he does have Juggernaut, he does have Luchador, and he does have Sniper. This is the hand-picked trainer golem for the Mundo Narjin line. You have perfect synergy with the entirety of the trainer golem. You have a Nar upgrade with the Kraken's Fury Slam and potentially Kahuna Huna, Alan's favorite power-up on this unit as well.
Oh, are you implying something that I will not be able to pronounce Kahuna Huna?
I would be very disappointed if you couldn't, as a professional caster.
I'm locked in, baby.
You nailed it. Nar also nailed it. A big tempo win here for Araya. I have to imagine all throughout this stage too. We're seeing Replication Rod, it looks like, for Aki, with a Rage Blade Slam onto Lux of all units.
And we are seeing the Aki's board once again. Would love to see the boards from the Wojtek, I believe we didn't see, from Sangyop, and from the Shredding. Aki could decide to contest the Jin Mundo intentionally, just to stop the powerful spot from the Araya, to not give him that easily top 4. And now we're working on Sangyop. There is Edgelord, Juggernaut, so many Juggernauts.
I don't think anyone's hitting Mundo 3 this game, is my prediction.
Oh.
Considering how many players are trying to angle this Juggernaut frontline. We're seeing the battle between the teammates here as well. With, I think it could still potentially be leaning into all outs. Cassante, Akali.
I think it's just Kai'Sa reroll to
buy
help out the other players.
Just to open an opening for the Juggernaut line for Araya, but potentially both players go down and just go for Mundo 2.
You have already Kai'Sa too.
Yeah.
Like, the components are not looking like it's Cassante. You need way too many gloves, way too many gloves.
We have seen a variation of Kai'Sa with Cassante and Akali in, I think, the last series, so that could be an angle from...
But it was more of a reroll, those 6 protectors for Supreme Cell from like some egregious spot.
Yeah.
Where it was reroll Kai'Sa and then Cassante as a final cap to the board, where it wasn't Juggernauts, but now that there is a Jugger on the Golem, we'll see something else, most likely.
First carousel rolling around, we're getting a look onto the boards now on the lower third here, below the carousel. Trying to start some predictions on what these players might be angling. We're seeing Shredding with a Nasher Slam and the Power of Friendship augment, I believe, for Star Guardian, so that's potentially the line for him, with the early Nashers on the Syndra and the Rel 2 upgrade.
I mean, +1 on the Golem on the Star Guardian is
extremely
potent. We didn't see his Golem just yet, but I believe we'll get to it quite soon. Meanwhile, Araya, Naruto, already from the Mundo, upgraded front. This looks like a solid 5 streak. And having Scavenger really helps get any additional items on the Nar.
And we've seen Mundo Nar be the standout tempo line in terms of preserving HP. Most of the times, throughout even just today and yesterday, the player that was reaching stage 4 with the most HP was playing Mundo Nar Jhin. And this is now the spot that Araya has been given. He has 100 HP now. He could potentially be, just like Kesman, the player that deserves the most HP coming out of stage 3 in this game.
So we've just seen 2 players having Star Guardian spot, which is pretty much they're forced into. One of them having Protector alongside and the other one having Bastion. So one will be not supplementing either Cannon or Cassante, but playing Swain instead for the Bastion Sork, and the other one will not be playing Swain, but will opt more into that exactly Cannon or the Brown perhaps, not Brown, but Cassante for that extra front line. By 9 Star Guardian is extremely strong on 8 if they get there.
And one consideration here is that sometimes the trainer golems give you such clear paths that you are forced into a vertical, you're forced into a certain line that's not super meta. If no one's forced into GP, does someone just give up their trainer golem and just play GP reroll as if it wasn't there because of how strong GP is, especially when uncontested? That's a question that we will see answered on 3-2 once players commit to their roll downs. I think it might be Aki. Aki says, you know what? +1 duelist, that's good enough.
Got the bow from the replication. It was either bow or the rod. But does find already 2 pretty good items. So he might be the one taking it down. There was also strategist player that could lean towards it. But again, there are such comps as you mentioned as GP, Sorks, that could just completely ignore the golem if it's bad enough and just play towards the premium line instead.
A flip of the script coming into this game too. It is instead going to be ROC who have maybe the most dominant lead when it comes to the HP totals coming into this. Lux with 80 items though looks really dominant from Aki here, dealing a blow to Kesman, but it is Araya and Dr. O on the win streaks, preserving HP coming into stage 3. Early Cassante for a Wraith Emblem player in Wojtek.
With the sword.
Very interesting setup all of a sudden from a 5 lose streak, 69 HP, can maybe stabilize off of this Cassante now.
Absolutely, and this we might see a rare case where we don't play Rise, but we're gonna play Kobuko because of the heavyweight emblem on the golem, providing enough extra DR and HP to whole team, which should be more beneficial than 2 strategies and mentor for the Sorks.
And you play a much tankier version, less bursty version of Sork potentially, with the index on Cassante over the extra Sork you have. You have a free spot obviously over the Ari, I guess in this case it would be. Very interesting line potentially being open for Wojtek here in terms of a Sork variation, and gonna have that spot like Dr. O last game where he's gonna free fall in HP potentially, but then have a chance for a big roll down on stage 4 to stabilize.
Cassante should be a tool that pretty much secures your stage 3. It's such a strong unit if he just puts on him the items, gets the mech early on, finds maybe all out here to just stabilize. Yeah. And the items we're looking, it's gonna be Shojin Guard probably, could be also Void Staff, no. But it makes the items awkward. Yeah. You can just go for Skypiercer early. So it's gonna be Shojin, probably Guard.
Could also maybe still lead into All-Out Cassante from the spot if you wanted it.
I don't think with this golem. Heavyweight, I mean you could.
Sorcerer for Kennen, I guess.
But I think his Sork is just too good to not go for that. It's in uncontested as well.
Yeah, if it's a tempo line into All-Out Cassante, okay, but from a loose streak, 30 HP, and then what? You don't hit or you don't hit all-outs.
You don't have enough items as well for that.
It's too risky, I think. Silver augments to come through now for our players coming into stage 3, so a little bit less tempo, a little bit less amount of power budget coming onto the comps and the game plans for this stage 3.
Eye for an Eye being one of the better item silver arguments, providing 3 components for a silver argument, even though it's stage 3, it's one of the better ones you can hit.
Even better because you have in stage 3 more units that can die, so it kind of accelerates the rate at which you get item components compared to stage 2.
I remember when the argument was 4 components.
Oh, I remember.
I was
looking at it very often.
That was some egregious argument, but still very strong.
And Aki trying to play the game Kesman played last game, but unfortunately he has a different 2-cost carry. It is Lux carrying the Rage Blade. Level 6 roll down. Not a single GP has been found.
And there is a defense coming from the RIM, holding already one GP, roll down for Mundo 2, Panda still on one copy, and Panda finds the Titanic. So that's one of the best silver arguments for 4 vs 4, providing the 25% extra HP just for the pretty much slowdown and the cost of having the non-having combat argument.
I have to imagine that Araya had most of his teammates in his matchmaking pool. Doesn't roll past this spot right here, despite having rolling for days and 11 free rolls. Going to play it more greedy despite being at 100 HP. So a very dominant start for Araya, the Philippine player now being the carry for this ROC squad.
Wojtek opts to itemize the the Ari instead. With those items rightfully, given that it's a critical threat, so it enables.
He has clear mind, so he has to either sell this Cassante or level to 7 here. I think he should level to 7. It's so much HP that you're saving.
He will level to 7.
Oh.
I mean, is someone else playing all-out Cassante?
I think he's playing for the full lost streak gold instead and doesn't really care about his HP, but I'm not sure if I agree with this.
He has Kingslayer, so even if he wins, that's not bad.
Yeah.
I think this is not correct. Like, you want this Cassante anyway.
Yeah, and you lose
it's like
gold.
Your key unit.
Yeah.
So we'll see what's in the oven for the EVOS on the Wojtek side later on, and if it's gonna bite him back on not having enough front lane, because Econ is definitely up there.
Even if your team wants a Cassante, they're not gonna really have a chance to find it or roll for it in stage 3, right? No one's rolling for their forecast this early on, so you could use it as a tempo option in stage 3 at the very least. But all in all, a loss for Wojtek, a loss for Araya. His win streak now ending on the hand of Sangyup. So not quite the 13 win streak we saw in the last 3 games from a player, but still a strong start.
Shredding being the spine of the team with the HP lead once again, playing the tempo. I believe, yeah, it's a Kale for now holder, and he already has a Yumi on the
And even more interesting is he has a Rammus too with a Stone
Restart
Blade.
mission.
Okay, I was gonna say, okay, thank you, Alan.
I was thinking, how long will I let you dive into that?
Damn, Shredden is really cooking. That's the first Rammus I see on anyone's board in this entire tournament. But it was restart mission into a lot of high roll, and we also see a recombobulator from Kesman. So EVOS decides, you know what, pull for fun on our 3-2 augment selection.
Oh, I see. I think this is Kesman all out.
Yep, I think it's going to be the case. It's a good spot for it, right?
That's why they wanted Wojtek to sell the Cassante.
Even then, I think the chances of a natural Cassante going to your shop when you're not rolling on stage 3 is so low that the HP preservation matters more for Wojtek.
Absolutely. He could sell it on 4-1 easily before the Kesman rolls.
Huge loss streaks for both of the Polish players, Kesman and Wojtek. So kind of the script has been flipped from last game. If Wojtek misses on his roll down, he'll be very similar position to Dr. O in game 1.
Yeah, I don't think Wojtek would mind losing the loss streak here, given that he has Kingslayer. So getting already the extra gold proc would be probably equal to having the streak at this point, but he will prolong the loss streak and get the value, hopefully, from Kingslayer later for him.
I will say, if Wojtek does stabilize and does find all his upgrades on his 4-1 roll down, he will completely take over the lobby in terms of econ, because he'll be able to go 9 off of Kingslayer. He'll proc it for many, many turns to come in 4v4 especially.
You would think that in the normal lobby, but there are some egregious golems this lobby. Like, I'm looking at the Raya board, and if he hits... Okay, there is no shot he hits Mundo free. Like, he's still undecided if he wants to roll or if he wants to push levels. It looks like pushing levels.
Yep.
And because of there is too many Mundos taken, staying on Mundo 2 and playing of Nar 3 might be too risky.
And I think there's some spots in TFT where you're so strong without indexing more power that you think, is it even worth rolling more for very little increase in my strength? Or is it worth using this current strength to then propel myself to a much better cap later on in the game, playing around 4 Luchador, playing around Braum, playing around TF and Ashe potentially in the late game? Maybe the Frost Touch comp that we heard so many rumors about in the last few days.
So this might be the 4 Supreme Cell variation where you don't play Rise, because you have already Rise on the Golem. Strategist Executioner, yeah, just ignore Rise, play the Kaisaf and play the more, like you have Cannon and just slot in Darius, boom, 4 Supreme Cell. Maybe get an emblem for the Cassante.
Araya now free-falling a little bit. Dr. O leading the pack coming into this stage 4. He is a Soul Fighter player. Soul Fighter overall, I think it works better off of a high-tempo lead coming to stage 4 where you stabilize and you maybe can play towards the vertical Soul Fighter.
45 HP difference between 8th and 7th player. I think that's the biggest gap we've seen so far on the tournament, but Wojtek is pre-leveled to 8th. We will see a massive roll down. 80 gold, same as last game, Dr. O. Will he succeed?
20 more gold for Wojtek on the left, but so much less HP compared to Dr. O. Dr. O is playing for Soul Fighters, and Wojtek is playing for Sorcerers. Karma has to be found, Gwen has to be found, Jarvan, Cassante.
Oh, no.
And Leona could be other options. We're down to already 30 gold, and that's the first Karma now being found. On the side of Dr. O, no Samiras.
Two Karmas for Dr. O, one
sets.
Karma for the Wojtek, and there is Cassante too. We'll have to see if the Kezman managed to find it, but pretty bad rolldown for the Wojtek, similar to the Dr. O rolldown from the last game.
But Dr. O's rolldown on this game also looked pretty doomed. He didn't find a single set or a single Samira on the vertical Soul Fighters, and he was down to very little gold. So despite leading the pack in HP, he might be dwindling his HP total across these next few fights.
He did play defense. He held a lot of forecasts from the EVOS compositions. So like it's not, he might have not rolled that much. I haven't paid attention what was his starting point, but like Wojtek had a pretty massive gold lead and still missing out.
Final augment coming through. Gold augments. Portable Forge has been very warping, especially for some
I seen a Flicker Blade.
certain comps, and we're seeing it here. The roll down from Araya. The sell on the Gnar. He wants to play for Ashe. He wants to play for Ashe. Flicker Blades, a comp we've heard is very, very strong. We haven't seen it too often. An early Braum is found as well for potentially 4 Luchador already in this stage 4. Do we find an Ashe 2? That's the biggest question. Holding Leona's now maybe deciding to play for his own game plan. Ashe 2 with Flicker Blades would be an insane spike for this board from Araya.
Yeah, on the side of the shredding, we see the roll down for the Stargardian. Only Nico fan. There is no Poppy, no Jinx. Yeah, it's looking really bad for the Evo, but he does pick up for Trifecta, so the free cost will be way more effective, which is a Nikos, Wayne, and Ari for the Stargardian side.
We'll see Wojtek. We'll see if he's able to stabilize. He won the last fight. He's facing Shredden. Shredden hasn't necessarily... I believe he has. He has no frontline items. Only has 2 item slam. So he has weakened his board. He has a stone plate on the bench here to allow Wojtek to come back in HP, make a bit of a comeback here. We're seeing now the win clearly coming through here. There has been a Gwen that has been found. And more importantly... Actually, no. We have Water Lotus. So the crit is already there for the Karma. Pretty
good augment for Wojtek. He does, however, miss the units. Gwen is there. Probably more important to have one Gwen, one Karma than Karma 2 all together. And Panda found already 4 poppies, which will be pretty bad news for the Shredding, who has still 0 poppies. And then there is also Jinx already on the board.
Even worse news, Poppy has her best in slot power-up. Unstoppable, so impactful with Poppy. She just runs around, knocking up everyone. It's really, really hard to keep your carry safe.
Araya rocking 4 Sniper, 4 Luchador, 4 Juggernaut board with pretty much best in slot Ashe. ROC looking very solid so far in this game after the roll downs on 8.
Great understanding of AD flex from Araya. Doesn't fall for the bait of staying on Jhin, Gnar, reroll, despite this being a great setup for it. Instead, gets rewarded for pushing level 8, gets the perfect artifact for Ashe that would not be very strong at all on Gnar or on Jhin, and is now potentially one of the strongest players in this lobby. This is the vision for Trainer Golems, right? This is the kind of game that you would hope this portal enables. In the last few sets, wasn't quite the case across most of the board, but now we're finally seeing with the prismatic verticals change that this is starting to see, I think, better consensus from the player base in terms of players liking this more and more.
What a world where we're living at, that golems make meta more diverse.
Yep.
And like you see more stuff from the players that are enabled by Golem, which was never the case until now in the DFT.
And a great example there from Araya's board, a set on the carousel. Dr. O last pick. The homework has maybe not been done by EVOS. They should have denied this set. I think, yeah, it's still a set 1 with 3 items for Dr. O.
So they are saying, okay, we are not playing disruptive TFT, we need to stabilize on our own, we're in the trouble. Even though if we deny that, it doesn't change a thing because we are already so behind. Wojtek Aki closing the table, and then Kezman slowly free falling as well.
But there's the concern, right? The prismatic trait for Soul Fighters off of dealing X amount of player damage. You can manipulate it a bit more in 4v4 as well. It can be a concern if Dr. O is able to just have a clean win streak and dominate the rest of stage 4 and 5.
Yeah, the problem for Aki, like he is missing that 3 copies of GP to be able to slingshot back to the top, get that econ back, and like given that it's a heavy, fast 8 lobby, he'll have a hard time stabilizing. A good chunk of players having Rumble, where this GP will very much struggle into, and we see another big loss for Aki.
Even this Poppy you're seeing as the stuns coming through, there's no amount of CC immunity given from Edge of Night. We're looking at the Karmas being held by Dr. O, so Dr. O playing both offense and defense. First in HP, 7 win streak, while also trying to doom the spots of some of the players from EVOS.
See, at the end, Wojtek managed to hit a front lane, managed to hit the Karma, Gwen. He does struggle on the item as well. He does have on, like, not even a front lane, it's just a fully itemized Karma and nothing else. Meanwhile, Kezman missing 1 Cassante, where, like, Wojtek has unitemized Cassante 2 on the board. This might be like as much as selling Cassante we found questionable that could save him HP during stage 3. Now when he buys Cassante 2, when his teammate's main carry is Cassante, this could be a big misstep from EVO.
Maybe with the HP save by fielding that early Cassante, you could instead pivot into a different frontline option and feel less pressure to have to buy Cassante to stay alive essentially in stage 4. So tough game from EVOS here. We're seeing the team play not quite looking good there. Shredden also taking a loss here. ROC beginning to take over game number 2. This is the bounce back we were hoping for. This is the series we were looking forward to. A close matchup between these two organizations.
Yeah, Shredding is one of the RE3. I don't know if there is much defense played on that, besides just sword players having like each of the RE2, but that's pretty much a Hail Mary from Shredding, but I believe they are too low on HP to being even able to swing it back. Look at the HP Zerosis have here.
Yeah, it's looking very tough. Aki and Kezman going to stage 5, potentially already on 1 life, Shredding on 22, and a 5 loss streak not looking good either. The roll downs looked abysmal from pretty much every single player. It's down to Aki to find a few more copies of GP to then use his 2 duplicators to find GP3. Every player on EVOS has to stabilize essentially right now on 5-1. There is no more time to spare. If they're not able to do so, I think this is going to be a wash. It's going to be a big win for ROC going forward.
I think going for this Udyr 3
you
here
just
is
never make this. Oh my god.
Okay, you sell this Udyr.
Of course.
The one from the board because of the one from the board, so you can move the items. Oh no! We see Nico on Udyr over going for the GP3 on the essentially one last life. Well, was he able to even make GP3? He was 1 off, no?
He was 1 off.
But like you could sell Udyr and have more gold roll for GP. Like I don't think this Udyr changes anything. I think it's pretty much
he's up against Shredding, he's up against his teammate. There has been no sacking. Does he get 1 more kill to stay alive? He does. He actually wins the fight. Shredding gets taken down to 1 life now as well. So every single one of the players in the bottom 4 from EVOS is down to 1 life. Kezman trying to stay alive here as well. The Akali trying her best against the set that was 2-star on the carousel. Does get the win in the end. Some breathing room for Kezman. 1 off of Ahri for Shredding, so just so close to big power spikes. I am not sure about trying to buy the Udyr there and just foregoing the game plan, especially if you're swapping items off of the Udyr now anyway.
Like, okay, sell Yasuo, put TG on Udyr, and item. Okay, this is worse. Kobuko is a better unit of than the Udyr. You could think with this setup he's better, but he's not. And you would want to TG him instead and itemize Kobuko. That would be definitely stronger.
Kezman up against Aki. Kezman potentially has 2 lives, has some HP to spare. We'll see if Aki can get a very clutch and very close win has to be against Kezman here with only maybe 2 units left alive. That would be ideal. I think there hasn't been any real setup to try and make that happen from Kezman though.
Matchmaking is not sparing EVOS given both of their all the 4 players playing against each other.
I think it's going to happen exactly as they need it to. It's going to be a 2-unit win for Aki, which means that Kesman stays alive.
But Shredden is out.
But Shredden is out, was not able to find the Ahri upgrade. Kesman now has found the Cassante upgrade right after he's faced his teammates. Is this going to be enough of a jump?
Is this a comeback?
That's the question. Wojtek is streaking, so the sacrifices the rest of the team made for Wojtek has worked out for now. He's on a 7-win streak, and that's really the only saving grace. Look at the HP from Dr. O.
Even if Kesman, Aki, and Wojtek are the strongest in the lobby, I don't think it matters because of just pure HP.
I think it's a wrap. I think ROC has this one. Just too much of an HP buffer. Dr. O did a fantastic job this game with the Soul Fighters in terms of denying karmas, in terms of playing for his own game plan, preserving HP. As did Araya, right? Araya had a fantastic game, deciding to go for fast 8 AD flex instead, being rewarded with kind of playing into the high rolls, right? Of finding that Flicker Blade or the Ash.
The stretchy arms GCP is horrendous. Sangyo barely losing to the GP2 with his Edgelord's flex board. It's just making it pretty much side div.
Sangyup down, 1 player from ROC now in the bot 4. Wojtek lost the fight as well, so he's down to 1 life. Every player from EVOS is on 1 life. Mathematically, I think it's impossible unless some
matchmaking.
Very weird TFT matchmaking comes through, but it would have to be
Wojtek had Kesman.
It would be a 1 in a million matchmaking for this to happen.
I think Wojtek is strongest in the lobby, and look at his bench. He has all the items on the bench, hence he had to play against Kesman, which he sucked HP for. So technically, they are safe on matchmaking there, and it's just a matter of what will follow. Who will Aki face? Yeah, and if he hits GP3 perhaps. Now the question is, Dr. Araya and Panda having a pretty strong tempo boards, but they are not that much full cap boards.
I believe Aki has 1 more life to sack if he loses by exactly 1 unit in stage 5.
Yes, he does.
It's 11 HP.
Perhaps if he
of course, it's basically impossible to look at board strength and be able to position.
Okay, I know. There is a way.
Oh,
Wojtek needs to play Braum.
Yeah, Braum to get some extra portal
and
life.
then suck.
That would be a pretty crazy outcome. Maybe they just have to put more work into the early games and I'll have to think through these combinations. Araya up against Kesman. Kesman trying to stay alive here with the Cassante Akali matchup. Cassante's going to the wrong side. The Sniper Ash is maybe
God, look
too
at this
strong.
Braum just taking the Cassante for a ride.
Akali's still alive, but she's all by herself. Kesman will be taken down. Aki did stay alive and win here, it looks like.
Did he?
Oh no, he got taken down as well.
Wojtek.
That's going to be it. That's going to be ROC winning game number 2. Fist bumps all around for the team. And they needed this. They needed the morale boost. They needed the confidence boost. They needed a dominant win, and they got exactly that. Looking at the standings now, 1, 2, and 3 from ROC. Dr. O especially as the most experienced player, as the most accomplished player individually, as a player who needed to show up when it mattered most. He absolutely has.
I mean, pretty much picking the argument we've never seen, the tournament favorite.
Are they now tournament favorites?
They might be. The karma bite back, because we've seen horrendous roll down from the ROC last game, and now exactly that happened to the EVOS. So it will come down to the final game, see whose skill, luck presents to us.
And Wojtek also taken down here. Dr. O looking so strong. And it's a great combat augment setup, right? Tournament favorites into second wind, into keepers where you have so much survivability on your team. You have units that sometimes put themselves in danger. You have Samira that jumps in and you hope her Omnivamp from her kit keeps her alive. Sometimes it doesn't. This will definitely help her out. Gwen as well, without Edge of Night, dancing around, sometimes walking into the wrong corners of the board. In this case, much more survivable. An early descent, set buying a lot of time as well. So just a really good setup here from Dr. O.
Will we see the first prismatic trait?
Vertical traits activated. I mean,
he had 3 wins on this stage if the overlay is correct.
Oh, I think if the team wants it to, yes, we will see it because it's only them left alive.
Yeah, but
it could definitely come through. Of course, ROC, I think, probably spending more time thinking about Game 3 coming up and not about entertaining the viewers. They've locked in the win in game number 2, but there's one more pivotal game left in this final series of the group stage. Now for sure, the final game of the group stage coming up after this one. 1-1 between ROC and EVOS. A dominant blowout win essentially from both sides in either of these two wins, or 2 games we've seen played already. And I have to say, really clean gameplay from ROC, really good adaptation to their trainer golems. This is, I think, I've talked about it before, but the example of what trainer golem should look like and what it should bring to the table in TFT at a high level. Some unicoms that we don't see much, Star Guardian, Soul Fighter, very, very strong.
We've just seen the tech you utilize against keepers with Unstoppable and how the power-up works. Because the units are so clamped up, Poppy targets a frontline unit. When she goes over, she cannot target that frontline unit, so she changes the target. And because she changes the target, she charges again over. And it happens over and over until the unit dies, so she can actually target it.
I think we're fishing for Frost Touch here, trying to find the double Frost Touch combination from Araya. He has sold the Ashe. He is trying to showcase to the world what this Frost Touch combo looks like. He hasn't found it, unfortunately. It will be Rage Blade, Flicker Blades, and a Kraken's Fury on the TF instead here.
Demolitionist, also pretty good on the TF.
Pretty strong.
But not as good as Frost Touch.
Looking at Panda as well, he did pick up Titanic Titan on his second augment, so also really cool tech for 4v4. He buys himself a buffer of HP. Obviously caps lower, but gives him gives his team more time, especially with someone like Dr. O, to eliminate everyone else for him, basically.
TF, very good to access to the backlane, but not as effective as against Star Guardian because of the amount of the sustain they get from the Poppy Star Guardian bonus, which is the healing under the certain HP threshold. And then, really cool to see 8 Soul Fighter.
Who would have thought the top 3 in the EWC game would be Vertical Soul Fighter, Ashe TF, 80 Flex with 4 Luchador, and the Vertical Star Guardian as well. Definitely not the most meta comps right now, but in these conditions with Trainer Golem, they can definitely perform at a high level. And it's good that players have put in the time to play reps on these boards despite being off meta, and to know exactly all the combinations of items, how to position, what augments are good for them to really find success in a game like this.
It's so cool to see Ashe working out, because how niche the comp is, how niche the champion is, it's hard to make it work. But when they do, it really looks cool.
I think it's stronger than people think. I think it's just slightly hard to find a spot to play for it.
And we'll see Soul Fighter picking up another win, slowly closing up the game. We don't know how much the Soul Fighter needs to proc the prismatic version yet, but he's at least at like 8 wins now.
It's, I think, 100. Is it 100 player damage you have to deal?
No, Soul Fighter, it's 10 wins.
Oh, just 10 wins. Okay.
Yep. It used to be the damage, and it was changed later to the player.
As you can see, I have not been playing much Vertical Soul Fighter across the first patch of the sets on ladder, but it looks like Dr. O definitely has level 10 for Dr. O. Maybe can start looking at Samir 3 to add some extra spice to the win here against his teammates.
Just rolling, probably went to another Gwen on the board. Adds up the 4 Jagger instead. And just pretty much doing another victory lap before they close out the series, thinking about the strategy for the next game, if it's like vanilla Portal or more so.
And these two players, two South Korean players that have been around for a long time as a group together, Dr. O and Panda, some of the OGs from the TFT scene in South Korea. Some players that have made it to attack rounds very, very long time ago and are still finding success late into their TFT career. In this time in a group setting, we're seeing the elimination here from Dr. O, or the loss, at least from Dr. O, with Panda now being the win streaker.
I mean, the issue is like Poppy is just charging through, and Samira is being exposed when she jumps in and dies from one shot from the Ahri, pretty much.
And the tech to explain here is that Unstoppable, the units that get put up into the air, they are, as you mentioned, not targetable. So Poppy has to find the new target, and then it just creates a loop where she's just constantly trying to find new targets and moving all over the board. This is where this combo really breaks and where Unstoppable becomes
against keepers, because it doesn't happen against anything that's not keepers, against comps that don't heavily clamp like here.
Yeah, exactly. Although some some augment or some board situations also can lead to a lot of back and forth knockups from something like a Poppy or Kabuko.
Balance to the Poppy. How many charges are we gonna get? That's one charge. That's second charge. Third charge in a row, and she locks in on the target.
And then
just board exploded.
That's going to be it. Dr. O taken down. Panda takes the win. The celebration there from the South Korean player. The happy smiles finally coming out for a team like ROC that has been on the back end of big losses in this tournament. They needed to have a win like this one for the morale.
The second win comes in. That's exactly what they need, as you mentioned. And that they can go with the fresh mind to the game number 2. And on the side of the EVOS, they have to cut this loss, the same as ROC did on their first game, and just go with the fresh mind. And yeah, just lock in.
That being said, I think they did play well into their spots, but I believe as a whole, ROC did have much better trainer golem spots to play into. I believe EVOS was on the back foot in that sense. We saw maybe the healthiest version of trainer golems in this set off of this game that was showcased here, but it is still high variance in terms of what you're given in the early stages. We'll see if in a more normal game of TFT with less variance and less disparity, we'll see that same thing happen. But we're ready for our analyst desk to break down all of that action that Lulu brought onto that game too.
ROC lives to fight another day. We're going all the way to that final decider match, guys, and that is something that we genuinely expected from every single one of the games that we had going on today, and this is no different.
Everybody being pretty evenly matched coming into today, and we get to see some excitement in the second game, of course, coming out of Trainer Golems. It's a little bit of spice, getting a couple extra
I think we
emblems.
sort of collectively looked at the screen if we saw the Trainer Golems dropping in and said, oh no, this is going to get very wild very quickly.
Yeah, and then ROC also gets that top 3 finish for 3 of their top 3. Yes, top 3 for 3 of their players. That's how it works.
It was a very dominant game, and sometimes this can happen with Trainer Golems. You just end up with a lot better spots. I think some of that was happening here, but I also just like the line selection that they went for. I think seeing the Soul Fighters, it was tournament champions popping up, and actually going for it, and it really just paid off for Dr. O. He ends up in that top 2, and then just Panda comes out on top on the Star Guardians versus Shred, and they both just contested there, and Panda ends up hitting more, finding a better spot from that
Are
point.
we putting this down solely to the golems, or is there also something that EVOS has done in this game that allowed ROC to just really get that big of a lead and such a dominant win here?
I mean, I think it's really hard to separate out what the Golems were doing in this game. I mean, I think Kashi said it really well with saying that ultimately, I think the game was pretty much in hand from almost the beginning because some of the setups here were absolutely absurd. I do think there was a lot of, very quick moving into their lines and saying, we've got the opportunity to take over this game and never let up until the very end, and they took it.
Yeah, I mean, the early commits were nice. We actually saw some really nice plays out of ROC, particularly Araye, going towards the Flicker Ash after having Jin Mundo recognizing that there was a contest in the lobby, finds one Ash and just decides that he can immediately kind of swap over there. And this was one of the players we were looking at as needing to have a big performance for ROC. They've kind of relied on him in the past in the global qualifiers to be one of those players who can look for the win out. And Dr. O was kind of the other player we highlighted as someone who can look for that and actually committing to the Soul Fighters, the team ready to support that. And he was able to just hit very early and keep the big win streak and able to just carry things out for the team.
I do want to make a point of saying, I've got in my notes, roll down sad face because of that game. Because I thought it was going to be another repeat performance with rolling down, but ultimately it didn't matter.
Yeah, and it was Dr. O again rolling down a ton of gold. He's playing Soul Fighter of all things, and yet he can't find Samira or Set in the first set of roll downs, but eventually he does get there. Now, on the other hand, we will say Voltec did kind of have a Dr. O moment. 80 gold roll down looking for Sorks. Only finds one Karma, one Jarvan, sending all of that. So a little bit of give and take. ROC had that problem in the first game, but EVOS does get a little payback with their variance going a little bit the wrong way.
Yeah, and coming in 5th place, Aki, of course, Yeah, we also had an opportunity there to go for something interesting, potentially looking towards the Kale, but just didn't work out at all.
Yeah, I mean, that was the big thing, right? Wraith, Duelist, Juggernaut. If you're able to pick up a Kale too, you might be able to just fast 9 from there because of how much power you can get. It just synergizes with everything that comp wants to do. But when we looked at the board of Aki, you just never saw a natural Kale, so has to figure out a different way to go since you don't want to roll into that line. You need to find just kind of the natural Kale too to be able to play that as a fast 9. So looks for something else, doesn't really find anything great, ends up with the 5th.
Yeah, for EVOS, this is maybe obviously not the game that they wanted it to go, but it also means that they're back on equal footing for both of these rosters. You said that you didn't think ROC could make a comeback, so how does it feel to be wrong?
Well, actually, I realized I turned to the wrong page. Sorry, let me just...
Oh, no. There is another page.
You asked for this one.
I did. I did. This is all on me. I would like to apologize. Maybe.
Yeah.
But that's not a very concrete answer, though, Kassa.
No, it's not. I think we need... Do you have a third page, maybe?
Do you have a yes or a no? Because I feel like you guys need to, like... You got to give me something a little bit more solid. Okay, fair enough.
All right, well,
I will ask again later.
We walked into that one.
No, we did. But Kassa, when it comes to ROC, EVOS, obviously one of them is going to get their key crushed. One of them is going to be able to head over through into those playoffs. Which one is sitting more comfortably, do you think has a higher chance of actually having their dreams and hopes not turn into ashes?
You know what's interesting? I think at the start of this series, I would have been saying ROC. My prediction would have been probably ROC 2-1. However, I think after watching the first game and watching how EVOS played it, I think they've played the most impressive game out of the series so far with that first game. And so because of that, I think I will give the edge slightly to EVOS. I think they're going to be able to take this. They're going to crush ROC's key.
No,
Well,
I'm quite with you as well. I think if we get another high variance encounter, though, all bets are off.
okay, well, either way, this is going to be the last match of TFT that we have here today in this best of 3 elimination game between EVOS and ROC. One of them will have their key crush by the end of this one, and the next will advance into playoffs to keep the dreams alive. And to find out who's it going to be, you're going to have to wait because we're going to show you after the break.
Level up your gaming experience with over 8 billion playlists, only on Spotify, the official audio streaming partner for the 2025 Esports World Cup.
Hey guys, it's Puckett. I got out 2 of my favorite TFT talents to go for a little round of Puckett speed rounds. You guys ready?
Ready, man.
Question number 1. Which tactician is most you?
Duckbill.
Oh, the Dark Pengu.
If you could delete one TFT item forever, which would it be?
Edge Knight.
Talisman of Ascension.
Which champion would make the worst roommate?
Mundo. He has no respect for your personal boundaries.
Great call.
Hey, I'll go with Mundo. Too.
Mundo on
Makes
this one. Would you rather get a broken augment or a perfect RNG on items?
The augment that wins more games.
I like to force comp, so RNG all the time. Item, perfect.
He's a gambler, baby. If TFT had a food fight set theme, what dish would you add as a unit?
Vel'Koz, but he's spaghetti and meatballs.
I want quesadillas. I love quesadillas, so give me quesadillas.
Cass thought about this one ahead of time. What's the biggest copium comp you've ever played?
Fiddlesticks last set without any artifacts. Reroll Fiddlesticks last set without artifacts. It's horrible, but I love it.
Okay. I like the Invoker set that you had infinite set in the count, like Electric. That was the best.
Which set mechanic gave you the most trouble?
Probably Chosen. I hate Chosen.
Power Orbs, I don't like to tailor them, but they remove it for the next patch, so perfect.
If you had to cast a match wearing a ridiculous costume, what would it be?
I've already cast a game dressed as a fish, with like a plate of fries, like fish and chips. I did like a full thing, with that bit. So I think the only thing that could get crazier is like, let's get me in full duckbill makeup, just as cursed as possible. I want to be as unsettling as I can to the audience.
That makes total sense. I like to do cosplay, so maybe cosplay of each champion whenever they win, or maybe a little legend. The Pengu could be cool.
I like this a lot. One word to describe a lobby full of high ELO players.
Free. Next.
No scout, no pivot. I think that's one word, right? That's
yeah,
one.
yeah. No scout, no pivot is one word. Yeah, I think so.
If you could create a meme champion, what would their ability be?
Okay, like what if there's like a backline champ, but their ability makes it so that when melee units, like melee carries hit them, they get knocked off the board.
That's good. That's good. I would like to have, maybe if you do something 3-star, you hurt the board of another player, not the one you're fighting against. Like another board that just go on
just
another
random
place
attacks.
and just destroy everything and make it not a bug. Like actually something in the game.
Yeah, okay.
I think you guys got a 10 out of 10 on the Puckett speed round. Well done.
Huge.
Boom. Welcome everyone for the final game of the group stage here at the Esports World Cup for TFT 2025. I'm Impetuous Panda, joined by Alan ZQ yet again for Game 3 of EVOS versus ROC. A first game dominant win for EVOS has been answered back by a high variance but high skilled win on the Trainer Golems encounter, with Lulu offering 3 random emblems and all of ROC using them to great effect for their own game plans in Game 2. A dominant win for them. Yeah, what happens now, Alan?
I mean, now they have to reset. That is for the Evo. They have to reset the mind, go into the fresh game. Don't worry about the last game. Because again, it was Golem. It's easy to just shake it off, you know? And now we have the Gala. And we are well prepped, well dressed. Time for some treasure hunting and solo leveling.
And this is the encounter we saw in game number 1, so we're repeating, going back to Yasuo as the opening encounter. And yeah, gold augments that we saw. Hustler from Kesman really took over the game. Solo leveling for Shredden also did as well. Hefty rolls didn't quite work out for Aki. We'll see if the same augments are offered and potentially taken by any of the players in this game 3. And it'll be Golden Gala, Golden Augments, not just for the first pick, but for every single augment stage of this game.
Yeah, well, we're on the topic of the hefty rolls. The more you think about it, I don't think the argument besides like Scuttle is really pickable due to, like, for the most rerolls you are lacking items. For Jin you want just more items, and for the concepts such as Kale, it's like you want to go fast 9, you need that Kale ASAP, like you don't want to roll that much. And for the crew, it would make most sense, but the problem is like the comp doesn't need HP, it needs components, you need more items. And while we're looking at the Dr. board, there is Kaisa 2, there is GP, there is Mundo.
Kaisa 2 from the Orb. 2 Jins as well. He is a 2-cost Whisperer. Take your pick. And I believe Sangyup from ROC also had a GP. So Dr. O will say, yep, I'll take this line. Over 9,000 has been picked up. One of these scaling power-ups for Kaisa. So double scaling on her kit with her growing AD on all her kills, as well as over 9,000, which I believe doesn't proc on stage 1, right? It only starts procking on stage 2.
You could think that, but the golden edge does.
I know some do, some don't. Either way, if it does, the great little...
is that a full gold opener? It looks like it.
Yeah. You
One
make 10
component
here as well. Deadlier Blades as well. Triple scaling for this Kaisa.
And the better it is, with no one has items.
Yeah.
No one has slams, so you are guaranteed pretty much the 5 streak, unless some egregious GP2 pops out.
This is a really insane setup. No decisions have been made yet, essentially, from Dr. O, and he's already given almost a, I'm not going to say a free win streak, but a very strong position. Level 4, above 10 gold still. Mundo has been found as well. You have the Juggernaut upgrades. You have Duelist as well for Kaisa.
Extremely good spot.
Treasure
and
Hunt for Sangyup with
Hunt.
Gangplank. This is looking scary for EVOS right off of the bat. Insane spots on 2-1.
Are having
ROC.
tempo spot with the Scavenger? We didn't see the upgrades yet. Solo leveling for Kezman.
And for Simply Wojtek.
With Udyr, that's not very good. Udyr is not that good of a unit. Hopefully Wojtek can find something better, but if they get each other, that's kind of better. Garen is very potent.
Yeah.
Garen is one of the best ones. And then can pick up Regenerative, which is one of the better ones with the solo leveling.
This could maybe be also a way, a two-pronged attack to slow down the Kaisa, right? If the Kaisa can't get the kill on either of the solo leveling unit, that slows down the scaling on her ability kit. But there is MR Shred here on the Ionic Spark Slam. Can this Garen get through this 4-unit board from Panda?
I mean, the spark comes out of the argument. The players cannot slam anything because, again, it's no components. That's why it makes solo leveling so much also stronger.
And Swain is also scaling with every cast.
Yep, and the resis are being shred from the Syndra with the flat value together.
Yeah,
So this essentially this Garen
counter matchup.
Yep, has negative resists.
Yep. Counter matchup from Wojtek, so starts off with a loss. A Zac 2 is found. Do you want to have a Zac on
Zac
the board?
2 is better.
Yeah, over the Udyr. 1 is the question here for Kezman. He can also make gold that way and sell the Udyr, which is not that important, I think, for a GP
It's
comp.
important for the stage 3 if he wants to play around it.
Yeah.
But for now, I would be, if he wants to get full value of the solo leveling, I believe it's get out of Udyr and get in Zac.
A few more augments to think about going into stage 3. Dr. O, we saw him with forward thinking in the game number 1 with when you can expect the golden augment. So preparing for golden for forward thinking is also important in terms of pre-leveling to 6. Also, a golden quest can be offered. It's an augment that you can maybe optimize for if you have certain like gold injection like we have in this game, for example.
So if you are a Kezman and also Wojtek teammate, do you just level for the more units to give them more value?
Ooh.
And more melee
You
units
must.
because for
Yeah,
the
you must.
Udyr?
You baby level 2-5. And yeah, you give extra value to not just 1 but 2 solo leveling players. You have enough econ to do so without sacrificing. I think it makes a lot of sense.
Kezman in a very good spot, having already the Force streak. We'll see what he picks up from the carousel, if it's Eon or Titan, but he does definitely need some sort of slam. And then we are looking at Aki, who will be contesting 2-cost reroll, which will be Mundo Jin most likely. And Shredding, oh, that's not good. Scoreboard, 1 unit, when your teammates are playing solo leveling.
True. Yeah, you have to try and give XP to your
I mean,
teammates.
you have to buy like low value units here just to give them like.
You're not making gold here anyway.
Yeah. Okay, there
he's
we
doing
go.
just that. So Shredden has probably gotten the call from Kezman or from Wojtek, I think it was. Yeah, Wojtek with also solo leveling, and they've told him so. He's gonna face Sangyup in the end, which actually this is the bad thing because GP can farm more gold. So there's a two-edged sword in that decision-making process.
But it's again. Okay, GP 1, no items. How often does he? Oh god.
Oh, that's a free 2 gold for Sangyup.
Could be 0.
Some extra econ to proc treasure hunt every stage.
And the same problem Wojtek was struggling with.
The counter set up here from Panda. Win streaking, but also you have the flat shred as you mentioned from Syndra. You have the percent shred from the Ionic Spark. And you have just the units to kill off.
The scaling on the Ezreal as well.
And from Swain, yeah, exactly. So huge counter matchup setup on stage 2 for both of the solo leveling players, denying a lot of the XP that they can pick up there.
So Wojtek is sitting on the tier, might be Slam Archangel, really good on Garen for the scale, and can pretty much outscale everything on the stage 2. And then Kezman might look for something like the Eon perhaps, if he wants to challenge. No, he'll go for the Sunfire Slam, and Wojtek will go for the Archangel indeed, so may be just Battle Academia. We'll see if they slam at the end, they might just pick up the good components and chill.
Really want to see Dr. O's fought as well. He's found a Vi 2, so some frontline to buy time for the Kaisa. Did lose 1 fight, but all in all, it looks like, as we expected, ROC is coming into this game with the lead in stage 2, the better spots, the more dominant spots to preserve HP, and to put themselves in comfortable positions coming into the rest of this game.
When one of the best openers you can have. The 2 Prodigy, 3 Battle Academia, so strong early on, given the strength of the Ezreal Syndra with dealing the single target, and then Swain for the tank. He actually has time to cast multiple times, just scale up when there is no offensive items slammed.
Here again, scoreboard scrapper Shredden. He had the option to pick up a Katarina on the carousel. She had a rod, opted instead to pick up the Crick Glove instead, so potentially not thinking about playing Katarina in this spot.
I mean, you don't want rods on your Katarina anyway.
Exactly, yeah, for both options.
And rod...
but could just try and play towards Sorcerers, for example.
And I believe that they just wanted to give the Wojtek rod, because if he's leaning towards Battle Academia, he can use infinite rods essentially. And we see that Kezman ended up slamming Sunfire, and he will be able to kill just 2 units, which is not too bad. The Setfire was definitely crucial there. I think the solo leveling is not as potent when it's full gold opener, because you lose a bit on the value. You get the 2 components, but slammed items are a bit better with the solo leveling, given that you are empowering 1 unit that has so much stats.
And really heads up play from ROC. It seems like I think almost every single one of their members has picked up an item augment in an encounter or a start of game where we have seen little to no components. So it's a really big heads up play. In TFT, one of the biggest fundamental rules to learn if you want to improve your game is you always want more of what you don't already have, in this case items. So heads up play from ROC.
Yeah, and pretty much playing just the strong front lane and a lot of back lane is a very efficient way of dealing with the solo leveling players, given not being able to deal with a single target that easily as with the many units. And I believe that Panda will remain his win streak against Dr.O, even weakening his board. So very good spot for both of the arrows.
3 more clutch wins could come out here for the Udyr with his inbuilt healing. Dodges some of the Senna burst. I don't think he'll get another kill here. Maybe. Nope. Just barely misses it.
Not that many procs on the solo leveling.
I mean, it was not an ideal setup. We saw the counter matchup on both players, at least for one of the fights they had in the stage 2.
And went for Udyr instead of Zaktu, which is just straight up better. Udyr does not do enough damage, given it's a trade, but it has 3 trades, so obviously he needs to be a bit more on the underpowered side.
Yeah. Just at a base level.
Yep.
Let's see what comps players decide to go for. Obviously, a lot of reroll lines are going to be sought after in stage 3. On 3-2 especially, we'll have a very clear idea when the augment pickup comes around, but also from the amount of really real players they want to try and contest and grief. Once again, I will mention a golden quest as a potential option. There's a lot of gold in this lobby. It would be, reachable at the very least, despite not having kind of a hedge fund or anything crazy like that.
I don't think anyone is allowed to pick it.
I think in 4v4 it's not the right setup, but if you want to entertain me and the viewers, that's...
absolutely.
Look at this, 70 gold on level 5
Then you get
already.
Seraphine, and what do you do?
That's true, that's true. But I mean, this is a game 3. Sometimes if you feel you're on the back...
You get Fiona, and then what do you do?
If you feel you're on the back ropes already, like EVOS might feel coming into this start of the game, they might say, you know what? It's time to pray. Time to hope that...
It's just Lee and Gwen. There is nothing else that you want to get. Everything else is kinda...
Braum will save you a lot of HP.
Bro, you're dead by the time you even win a run with Braum. And we'll see Aki face no slams against the Panda Quest. 2 pretty good slams ending Battle Academia. So we'll probably have at least 2 players going towards it.
One of the best things to have in this 4v4 setting, a fast 8 HP player that is playing from tempo, that is playing from HP preservation, because this completely changes the dynamic when it comes to stage 4. Gold augments coming around for all of our competitors. Pre-level to 6 from Aki in case forward thinking comes around. He is ready to go, but this could just be a roll down, of course, for the Mundo Jin board.
We see
big
portable forge.
Big.
I think it has to be portable forge. Teacher's Kansi on the other side.
Yeah, also for GP reroll. Raining gold for Sangyup is, I guess with treasure hunt, maybe it's fine.
Just to make sure to hit GP, to preserve HP. They are in such a commanding position. And there will be contest from Aki. What are his items that he chose not to go for the artifact? There are so many good artifacts he could have picked up for either GP or Jin or Mundo. Okay, he had already the Kraken.
GP2 is big here for Aki to try and stabilize off of. Still has so much gold to work with. He's found upgrades all across the board.
And he's still rolling off the free rolls. He didn't even touch on his gold just yet.
We'll be playing, of course, a different variation of GP for now, considering that he has too much value. And looking at the setup from the treasure hunt board from Sangyup, is holding Katarinas as well, so we have to assume that at least one player on EVOS is playing Katarina reroll.
And the Hodge slam.
Oh, the trickster could be big here.
Actually, life-saving.
Yeah. Gets out of the way of the opponent's GP, takes down the kill as well, is now having a chance to clutch up and win the rest of the fights here.
Will be getting the final win against the Healing Cup back with the trickster.
We'll have to check out the rest of the boards. Panda still continues the win streak as we almost move into the stage 3 carousel. 3 levels to 7, so much gold to work with.
Having the Lotus on top of that, very good spot to just play the Battle Academia. If he manages to find one like Yumi on 7, he'll be extremely strong. And then we have Dr. O, Araya, and Sangyup all in the top 4, maintaining the HP, and then shredding on the 7 loss streak.
This is looking very tough already, from a dominant Game 1 win to now up against the ropes already. We're halfway through stage 3. We're 10 minutes into the game. But a Karma has been found on level 7 for Wojtek. Not the ideal items. You have a Rabadon Slam that would have maybe leaned more towards Prodigy.
Sure, but when you find already Karma, yeah, exactly. Given that he has the extra death cap, like it's just few percentage off, being a bit worse. But come on, you have Karma, you have free items. Like Shojin is more unideal for the Prodigy than death cap for songs. Like between.
Yeah, it's more of a downside. So Wojtek could once again be that fast 8 Sorg player. We've seen the same comp from him all 3 of the games in this series.
And Kezman barely losing to the Panda, maintaining that streak just on the last unit alive. And we don't see any crucial focus except of the J4. There's just Samira and Seth, which are, well, as last game we've seen being dominant, and won't be the case anymore in this game. I doubt we'll see any Soul Fighter players, given that you need to have +1 at least for that comp.
And Shodan, I wonder if he is playing for Katarina. He only seems to have a Katarina 1 on his board right now. I think he might just be the Yumi player on the team for EVOS. Looking Dr. O, relatively healthy. Has been able to find a second item now to get this Kaisa scaling a little bit higher. Does have the fully upgraded Mundo, almost with full items here as well. Is it worth to have double Deathblade on Kaisa in this setup, you would say? Probably not this late into the game, no? I think just IE would be more.
I think she doesn't want that much AD anymore. Yeah. Like you want to have you want to diverse your damage multipliers at this point.
Maybe like from the very beginning, if you're stacking 2 Deathblades with Death Leader Blades, it could be worth it. But
you can move, you can distribute them later, like the Lee.
Shredden now has slammed items onto the Katarina. Hodge, Edge of Night will be the answer here, with hopefully having the scoreboard scrapper save him later in the game with the extra stats. But for now, it is going to be a blowout win yet again for Panda.
So you see that Shredden is playing for the late game, picking up, I believe this is the package. Yeah, not the Vitality. They have similar icons. And until like stage 5, this argument is a pretty much drawback. And then later getting the items that you don't have really units to put it on. So could be an odd choice in general.
Where Shredder now has a chance. Oh, this could be a Kali actually. Makes a lot more sense. Yeah, he's pumping 7, going 8. Has it?
This with Scoreboard Scrapper makes so much
more sense. You have mixed carries for AD and AP. You have already an early Cassante. Although no all-out here, and in a game 3 like this, it is so important. There's a chance you'd miss all outs altogether, right?
Stand alone, not very alone in this front row.
Not currently. Maybe just trying to go.
Dark Amulet for just to save a bit more HP.
Trying to go for the 10 loss streak potentially, so letting...
I mean, if you wanted 10 loss streak, you wouldn't slam this Dark Amulet on the Katarina, would he?
He's standing together.
for now.
Standing together. He does have friends.
Facing Aki, trying to potentially give GP some gold to farm. Katarina, of course, is onto GP already, though, so we'll see if that'll be the case. Aki should be able to free fight here with the Hodge as well, the Omnivamp onto the GP.
Yeah, there's still Trickster, I believe, for the Aki. They did not proc. And we see it just going away. That Hodge is so efficient with the Trickster.
Yeah.
Just able to heal up back to full.
A lot of gold farm for Aki, a chance with this Teacher's Council.
And we see Aki's playing a full defense, holding on 6 Mundo, 6 Kai'Sa, preserving that Doctor game plan.
That was the same role we saw from him in Game 1, holding 6 buys from Sangyup to deny the Knuckle Dusters 3-star. So Aki seems to be the one player that is being tasked with griefing the rest of the team, sacrificing his own game plan, but bringing down others alongside him.
I believe on the scrims and general Aki, when he tried to play fast 8, it was not to the great success. So perhaps that's why he was designated towards that position, given they have a bit stronger players on that position instead.
Yeah, a lot of experience coming out from Shredden and Kezman. We'll see what Shredden can do. Going to be a pivotal roll down. I believe it should be a 4-1 roll down with all the extra gold we saw on stage 2. And this could be everything. If he misses all out on Cassante, that could be super detrimental. He could also still play for Katarina, but I don't think so. He just skipped past the Yumi twice. He's just buying now the second one, but I think it will be all out Cassante. It makes just so much more sense in this setup. We're now trying to fish for it. Misses it here. Unstoppable is found.
Didn't tailor it.
Gonna try and remove again. Gonna
Should
keep
have
rolling
tailored it on
first.
the Yasuo. And he might just itemize Akali if he doesn't find the all-out. The time is running out.
Yeah, he's not going to remove it for now. I think he's going to keep Unstoppable for at least one turn and then
Well, itemize Akali for now. I don't think you have much of a choice. Yep.
He will. It's more consistent.
Put the power-up on the Akali. He has one more fruit, I believe.
He is facing Dr. O. He is finally trying to hit her. Hits. Yeah, not hitting any of the strongest ones, I believe, with like Mage, for example.
Didn't lock in on the Kai'Sa, just hit the targeting.
Yeah, unfortunate. Kai'Sa now, free reign, does finally lock in. I think Edge of Night has still not proc, so this should be a fight win for Akali here. Able to access the backline and not have to play front to back against this Mundo.
Important note, I believe all-out Cassante would lose this fight because of the not being able to go through the Mundo. So really good call to go, even though he didn't hit, to put items on the Akali.
Key roll downs for all of our players. The final gold augment coming through first. Fast picks for Shredden. He needs more items for Cassante. Makes a lot of sense for now. We'll be playing Unstoppable Cassante. If he doesn't even find more damage items regardless, he could just use him as a tank in this setup.
Who's Varus?
Has an early Varus as well. Varus can potentially play for Varus as a carry instead of the Cassante, for example.
You want to run past that Karma fast for the Wojtek. You don't want to be holding carry in the shop for a long time. Sell the Rice. You're not itemizing Rice. You're not making Rice too. Holding on those units. He has to do those faster because, again, it's griefing the teammate.
GP3 for Sangyup and still a lot of gold to work with. Has not found Rise yet, so can't play for the 4 mentor board just yet. Is holding an Akali to try and mess with the game plan of Shredden. And
2, not 1. 2
GP3s. Yeah. Too much value, though, from Aki, so it's more expected for him to hit, although Duplicator was picked up by Sangyup on his 3rd augment choice. And Keeper's a pretty good augment choice for Aki on the right.
Aki is really putting up some solid job here. Not
Innervating Lockets. Portable Forge picked up. Onto Leona, though.
Not as potent as it is on the Mundo. And
double Archangel Yumi, though. If Gangplank does not have stretchy arms and can't kill off this Yumi first, yeah, that'll be a win.
Kezman is your win-out player, essentially, here. And Aki will probably just barely stand there, given that he's still missing out and holding all those units and playing off the HP for the team.
Cassante pair, Varus pair, just a single Akali for now. We do have an itemized Varus. This upcoming carousel could do so much for EVOS. If there is a Varus on the carousel, that can buy so much time, that can find so much stability for a player like Shredden, who's on 30 HP right now and far away from his key upgrade in Akali.
There is no more power-up removers, so can't really sell that Cassante, can't remove the power. You could remove item to try to itemize here the Jarvan to get the stun off.
Items have been removed for Kezman on that Yumi, so buying some time for Shredden.
I think it's smart to understand that Shredden has a chance to have a very strong board. He just needs time to get there. If he gets there, he can definitely be a player that, I don't know, I'm sure if he can win out, but he can definitely finish.
Oh, with Scoreboard Scrapper, I think he can win out. He's stacking here since stage 2.
Yeah.
This board, with the Varus 2, Akali 2, can definitely do dirty things.
And we're seeing EVOS, they identify this, which I think is very important. They have to acknowledge this and now to start playing for these win conditions to try and manipulate the outcome of these fights to set it all up. Do we find a Varus on the carousel? One player from each team on the first pick. It will be Braum and Seraphine instead. Also no Akali in the 4-cost slot. It will be Poppy and Volibear. So unfortunate offerings for EVOS when they have so many players with lower HP and first pick prio on the carousel.
It could be good news for Wojtek picking up the Braum. Exactly. He does need that extra HP to be able to sack for later. So Braum, very good for the Evo, not so much for the Shredding, but Wojtek did pick up the Karma too. He has Swain 2 already, so the tank is established, while having a pretty solid augments all together, having one combat, one component, one. And when looking at the side of the ROC, where I believe one of the players was playing Malzahar holder, or was this the
Panda is playing for Prodigies with Yuumi, and Araya also already hit Karma 2. He's a Sork player. Again, it seems like both teams have a designated AP Sork player in Araya and in Wojtek, which we saw in game 1 from Araya and every game for Wojtek.
Given how easy you can utilize bows, BFs...
Very stable setup here. 2-star Karma, perfect items.
Yeah,
Asante
and Asante too. Oof.
A very tanky Swain here as well. Can this I mean...
I don't think he can kill the Leona, can he?
Oh, I think he can.
Really? There is not? Oh, there is anti-heal, but...
Does he buy enough time for the Yuumi is a big question.
There's one more cast coming.
That would win it, but it doesn't come out in time. Kesman takes a loss. Araya buys some time as well after a 3-loss streak. And we saw the Akali holding the bench as well for Araya, so some strong setups.
So here, what are we looking at? The
Sangyop's GP versus Dr. O's Mundo, which is the Kaisa reroll player we talked about. Keeper has rolled to 0 gold from Dr. O.
We see that they are targeting Shredding, try to send him bottom.
Yeah.
But Shredding's on the 4th streak. We see that Cassante, Akali are on both benches, and Sangyop even plays it one on his own board for just the...
And Shredding's winning despite the lack of upgrades, despite everything not quite working to perfection with missing the all-out Cassante, not having items for him. Shredding is starting to turn things around. Dr. O, despite the insane early start, let's remember, he had a Kaisa 2 with the Deadlier Blades, with a great setup to scale. He has not quite been able to do so just yet.
I mean, that's being pretty much hands down to Aki, being able to slow down so much Dr. O while griefing.
No Mundo 3, no Kaisa 3.
Yeah, and Kaisa without a proper scaling argument and not getting early enough kills to scale up, and she's still only at 2 items.
Water Lotus, or 2 Lotus from Wojtek here. Double Rabadon on Karma. Is this going to be enough to break through? Kaisa can maybe start targeting the backline, but no. The tank line from Swain is too strong. Dr. O taken down to what could be 1 life coming into stage 5, 16 HP. And Wojtek, more importantly, stays alive and healthy at 29.
I believe that win comes with the Braum, so every wins essentially grants Wojtek as a +2 HP.
We went into stage 4 with essentially 4 players from EVOS in the bottom 4 of the standings. Things have started shifting. Panda and Sangyop, they are still in the top 2, but this is not the 80 HP, the crazy amount of buffer that we saw in the past. It's very close now between Aki and the 2 players from ROC. Kesman also climbing, Shredding on a win streak, so things are looking more even coming into stage 5. The scaling game plans we were more scared of, like Dr. O's, have not quite come to fruition, which means that I think it's going to be a very close match all the way till the end.
The true scaling got to the Shredding, who has the Scorbo Scrapper. Once he gets the Akali 2, Varus 2, which he doesn't, but he does find the Cassante. Will he find All Out?
He doesn't find it.
But he did Taylor.
Oh, he does find it. He has removers still. He does. I think he shouldn't slam yet. Yeah, he'll wait for the slam. Oh, never mind.
No, he needs to play for winner. He needs all the LHP. He's not sucking there.
I guess, yeah, he's on a win streak as well.
Yeah. And the rest of the items on the Kali.
He has a component anvil as well. I think he has, all 3 items.
He has
already.
all 3. He has Morello. He has the...
An adaptive onto the Jarvan. So a strong setup finally, and still a chance for high roll, right? With this Varus 2 upgrade for Shredden. He's made it, he's rounded the corner. He's facing off against Sangyup GP with Treasure Hunt, who is also scaling into the late game. Is he strong enough to win now is a big question. Cassante is still alive, Akali's still alive, Varus is still alive, GP tricksters his way out of danger, but is it enough? It doesn't look to be the case. Too much damage coming out from Scoreboard
Those are not the
Scrapper.
items for Sangyup.
And Dr. O is down. The Kaisa game plan did not work out. It's an 8th place for ROC.
Those are not the items on Sangyup GP that can go into the late game. He did play defense against Aki, but it's not going to be as effective. While we're looking at the Wojtek board, oh, he did not have Braum on.
He has Braum in now. He's at 17 HP. He's just to have Rise before, yeah, potentially.
Yeah, like Bastion plus the potential HP would have been way more efficient for him.
He just barely was able to make it to 9 to try and find this power spike off of the Bastion added on to Swain to make him tankier, as well as to find more HP off of the Poro preservation thanks to the Braum. Still missing the Gwen item carrier. Number 2 is going to be Ari for now. He's facing Shredden, a good test now to see which of the players is stronger.
This is very important for Shredden not to suck HP. He needs to go into top 4 to get that scoreboard extra HP scaling to being able to pretty much guarantee the win out. But we see that Akshi is getting completely rolled by Wojtek.
Shredden has a lot of HP though. As long as this is 2 lives, which it is, I think it's still a good thing for Shredden here and for
It's
EVOS.
not the end of the world.
Araya is also in trouble now. 10 HP to work with. Sangyup has now hit finally the Yasuo 3. This could be the stability he needs. It is crazy from the spot we were in stage 3 that we thought the game was half over for this now to be a massive comeback from EVOS coming into stage 5.
I mean, we talked about it over and over. When you play for too much tempo but not enough value, it can happen. And we are witnessing it live on the final game of the final group stage.
Aki has really carried this game as well with holding the Kaisa, sending Dr. O 8th while also preserving his own HP, doing what he needs to do for his team, doing all the dirty work, but also being the hero in stage 4.
Yeah, absolutely MVP so far of the team. While we're watching the Araya fighting against Shredin, that Sork board that Wojtek just being able to pull through the Shredin last time. We'll see if the Shredin manages to win against the other Sork player, and he will take the Araya down. They did send Dr. O, Araya, 7 and 8.
And Shredin really encapsulates the idea of being that scoreboard scrapper, sending a player out in 7th and 8th for ROC. They need to secure a 1st and a 2nd to win this final match to qualify to the playoff stage of Esports World Cup TFT 2025. Everything is now at stake for these last remaining players.
Yeah, it depends who the win-out player for ROC is gonna be. It has to be Sangyup, hoping for like stage 6 Masterwork upgrade for the GP, because otherwise I don't see a case where they can win out. He manages to find Yasuo 3 with the 3 items, which will be quite potent, but still missing on that Kobuko. While we've seen Aki being sucking out the HP even throughout on the stage 5 for the team.
And very similar to Sologasong, the element of variance, the artifact that he was able to pull from Treasure Hunt was a Seeker's Arm Guard. It wasn't one of the crazy artifacts for GP that in some ways can kind of win you the game. So that could be the same, negative thing that happened here for Sangyup as well. We're seeing him face off against Shredden. Another big test.
He's on the wrong side.
How strong is Shredden? Cassante can barge now onto the Udyr, can then try and target the GP. Akali helping the Cassante out, but now both are out of danger, and GP is yet again safe, has a BT for some extra survivability alongside Edge
Oh
of
my
Knights.
god, this GP healing! Look at the scaling from the scoreboard!
GP is now down, it's only up to Yasuo. Cassante all out, he comes back, and a big win for Shredden, who continues to dominate this lobby in the late game. Panda now down to 16 HP as well, Sangyup down to 9, potentially the last life for both of these players on ROC. The last upgrade coming through here for Sangyup, it is maybe the weaker of the two. In Udyr 3 being found, Kabuko sacrificed to get the upgrade online. Is it going to be enough?
Yeah, on top of that, it doesn't help that Shredin just stepped into the top 4, which means there will be 10% extra HP for whole team, on top of all that scaling that came in throughout the stage 2, stage 3, stage 4, and the stage 6 approaching.
Braum 2 for Wojtek as well, so a massive upgrade. Items removed off of Karma and the Shadow Clone to try and maybe buy some time. It will be Kezmen versus Sangyup. Is this scaling Yuumi strong enough? Can she stay out of danger? She's far away from GP for now. but GP and Yasuo working together on that left side, bursting through that part of the back line. It looks like this board might be a little bit too strong, but Yuumi is still alive. Leona is still tanking, buying time for the scaling cast of the AP carry. GP
Yuumi
down to his last life. Yuumi survives and casts one more time. The win from Kesman, the knockout from Sangyop. They needed a first and second. They don't get it. And it's going to be Panda also in the bottom 4. The clean sweep, the 1, 2, 3, 4 from EVOS. They clutched up where it mattered most. They're almost
Look at the celebration on the
celebrating. What a final game. What a final showdown where we thought the game was over halfway through stage 3, but EVOS has pulled off a crazy comeback in stage 4 and 5. All their game plans worked out in the end.
This was truly a masterclass, what we've seen, where ROC had all the tempo, stage 2, stage 3, as you mentioned, getting and Evo getting almost no value from the solo leveling and being able to just play for the full grid setup and making it work throughout unfortunate rolls for Shredin is truly something impressive. Hitting all out just at the stage, stage 5? Like, this is quite a showcase of a skill.
Beautiful plays from Shredin, especially trying to balance his game plan with having to carry Varus first, understanding that he couldn't fish for all Agasante there. He had to make the calculated play in the next stage. He had to carry a whole stage with Varus instead of Kali pulling in most of the work. Everyone on ROC trying to target Grief Shredin, and he's just dodging and trying to find his upgrades regardless. And in the end, for 4 players to end up in the top 4 in a pivotal game 3 is just a very hard thing to accomplish in 4v4. It's truly a dominating win from EVOS here, and a win that is good for them, obviously, to make the playoffs, but what a confidence boost coming into tomorrow to try and fight against the rest of the teams, coming in as underdogs that a lot of people wrote off in the high-level TFT scene, and to come back into the playoffs with this showing is maybe exactly what they needed.
Okay, so now that they are locked in, they have to think about the next day, things they can improve. What we've seen so far, they either stomped opponents or they got stomped. So we have to reduce the polarization here to reduce the variance that comes off. Yeah, there was golems last game, but again, we have to remember yesterday they got also sent dead last by the Weibo.
By Wolves.
By Wolves, excuse me. So there's something there, and they have to analyze the replays and take the proper.
I will say,
lesson.
Wolves has sent everyone dead last, so it might just be Wolves being tournament favorites and the winner of last year's EWC for TFT as well. But again, I think you're right. I think they also have to, of course, not get too cocky in terms of their win here, and this being a blowout win. They have to stay realistic to their chances and their skill level, but definitely try and learn from what they've experienced in this series, learn from the pressure they were able to handle and the nerves they were able to handle. If I was in any of these positions in stage 3, I would have thought it's 100% over. I would have been completely demoralized from how tough some of these spots looked, but they believed in their spots, they believed in themselves and in their game plans, and really pulled through as a unit. I think you mentioned it, that Aki was put more on kind of griefing duty and maybe didn't have the right mastery of this set yet, or the right mastery compared to Kesman and Aki, but I think he was one of the all-stars.
I think he was MVP.
He enabled everyone in this game 3, so I think individually for him, it's also a very big confidence boost.
Oh, he honestly enabled the team. We had 3 players playing fast 8, which is usually the bad play in 4 versus 4. Especially if it's not a scuttle-puttle, there is no extra resources.
Well, I think from their spots, they kind of had to do that and gamble, because they had a treasure hunt GP player that was looking very scary. They had a Kaisa 2 from Dr. O on 2-1 that they really couldn't match up against in the early stages. Panda looked incredibly dominant as well with his Prodigy setup.
I mean, keep in mind, we had the reroll players from the ROC playing defense and playing for themselves, and we had only Aki playing the defense on the other side and for himself. And pulling ahead against so many players. Again, we've seen Aki play defense against twice, went 7th, sending 1 player 8th. That was very solid. Now, pulling out again while maintaining top 4 is such an impressive performance. I think, like, clearly this match MVP has to go to Aki.
Yeah. All in all, a strong showing. For ROC as well, I think not quite the tournament they were hoping for. I think despite it being on paper, one of the easier groups potentially in the group stage, many people said, with Wolves being obviously the standout team, I think EVOS has surprised many people in terms of how strong they have become as a team and how strong their synergy is.
And ROC had a tough time. Also, Team Liquid Brazil, I mean, a very, very strong roster individually. They couldn't quite gel as a team, I think. They had other difficulties, but all in all, ROC has to be proud of making it this far, 4v4. It's so hard to make it even here to the main event. The qualifiers are so tough, and they managed to do it in a very competitive region like APAC. So despite not quite being the playoff they were expecting, still, I think, head held high and hopes held high potentially for a return next year.
Absolutely. I mean, it's heartwarming seeing that a bunch of friends came from Poland as underdogs without bigger accomplishments and just making it work throughout to top 8, and you see them just celebrating in the screen, being so happy and yeah, supportive to each other, even though after the game 2 being dominated.
Final win for EVOS, the final series, the final game of the group stage